WBSX, the cyberbully. The pendulum is swinging.
Fucking thing a guy can do is make a little noise. Okay, let out a little.
Hold on, clear up.
The Warthog. I love him.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
What's going on, MAGA Chuds? You have come to the right place. It is the ASTROLAB. And this is the latest Tuesday show ever. I know I made a big deal about how I was switching up the schedule and was going to start taking a midweek break and doing a Saturday instead. And then the very first Wednesday, here I am on Wednesday. So today is not Wednesday. I may have played the Warthog Wednesday intro, but today is not Wednesday. Today is just an extremely late Tuesday. And we will Saturday today. Or not today, but we will Saturday this week. No, we are going to we're going to do an ordinary lab this afternoon or this evening, wherever you are. I got a good one for you guys. We're going to talk about Trump pardoning a Honduran drug kingpin. What's the story behind that? We got a little bit more on the Emerald Robinson Smartmatic, that whole deal. Then there was Trump had his monthly cabinet meeting yesterday, and we got some great clips that came out of that. We'll talk about the affordability messaging, and we're going to highlight one particular breaking slop account. One of the worst. One of the absolute worst. And you know, I don't even necessarily. I mean, yeah, I resent him. I think he sucks. I think that his shtick sucks. But the problem is that people participate in it. They make his shitty messaging real by engaging in it and reacting to it and boosting it. So yes, you guys know exactly who I'm talking about. So we're going to talk about that. We'll get to that here at some point.
Welcome to the Gulag. If you survive, you earn your freedom.
Screwed Up Nevsky, Absolute Patriot, gifting a sub to Willing Always. And then also shout out to Anonymous, who gifted a sub to Caredwin. Thank you also to Nevsky, who a day ago gifted a sub to Enchanted Hero. Thank you to all of you guys. And Mr. Buttpoop, who renewed his subscription, said, "Greetings, Patriots." Thank you to you guys for supporting the show. Just had our most productive revenue-generating kick month ever this last month. We're steadily growing, which is very good to see. Even though I've kind of given up on hitting the specific number metrics for total subscribers or not total. I'm actually blowing out the subscribers number, but total chat engaged chatters and total live viewers and all that. I just kind of given up on that. But you guys are totally making up for it right now with your engagements and your support. Also, my wife just informed me that those channel points that you have, they're basically you can send them. Maybe she can explain in the chat. As I was running upstairs, she was explaining that you can use their like additional opportunities for engagement with the channel, and I think you can maybe request things with them. So maybe like request soundboard drops, or something like that. So there is a use for all those channel points. I don't know. It says they're temporarily paused. Okay. Well, hold on just a sec. Let me see if that's something that I can immediately address easily. If I come over here to the menu, let's see. Maybe it's under community. Let's check community. Channel points. What is this here? Channel points are earned by viewers for activity on your channel. These points can be redeemed for rewards. It says they're turned on. Custom rewards. Create rewards to challenge and recognize your fans. Request queue. There is a request queue. All reward requests. You don't have any reward requests. So I guess it says encourage your viewers to redeem points. So maybe you can redeem points, and then I can create new, shown as an available reward. I can create rewards. Require viewer to enter text. Skip reward request queue. Choose a background color. Reward description. I can't reward name and description there, and cost. Okay, well I'll see if I could come up with something to use for that. Do not redeem that. Yeah. Hessian Beard says rewards are temporarily paused on KingPin's channel. However, you're still able to earn channel points. Well, I have no idea if it says they're paused. I have no idea how to unpause, because it says that they're active on the channel. Let me try turning them off. If you have an ongoing prediction, it will be canceled and all channel points will be refunded. Well, if I disable it, it's going to refund all of your channel points. So we may have to do the old turn it off and turn it back on again, because I don't know. It says on my end that everything is all good, as far as I can tell. Different channel roles, chat. Nope, there's nowhere I could put banned words in here. Yeah, I have the chat moderation set to unfiltered. So I can also set it to minimal, moderate, maximum, and custom, if I wanted to. But I have it set to unfiltered. So the AI mod stuff that's happening in there is that's on the unfiltered setting. It could be even worse. Let's see. Age of account, displays, allow viewers to post links, show lifetime gifted sub leaderboard, show monthly.
Welcome to the Gulag. If you survive, you earn your freedom.
Yeah, I don't have anything else that I can do on it. So, sorry, guys. I guess maybe try refreshing the app or something. I don't know. I may have to be in the monetization program, perhaps. I don't know why it would show it to me. Maybe it's just supposed to be like a tease thing to make me. Yeah, no, nothing here. Yeah, I don't know. If you guys decide if you really want me to, then I can toggle it off and back on again. It's going to refund you guys all your Patriot points. So you're going to start over again. But ultimately, it's basically a proxy for engagement. It looks like, just seeing the numbers you guys are putting in here, the people who chat the most are the ones who have the highest. Maybe they're paused because Matt's a very naughty boy who says nigga. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Do not redeem the on and off. Yeah, no power cycling. You can unpause kick channel points by using a third-party tool like streamer.bot, which allows you to pause and unpause specific channel point rewards. There is no native unpause function, so you'll need to set up a custom trigger to manage your reward. What the hell is the point of that? That's weird. It must have to be because I'm not into the sufficient monetization level or something like that. Because I can't imagine them introducing a skull emoji. There's 50 kicks. Okay, so there's that. Thank you, Skudimnevsky. But maybe, I don't know why they would offer it, but then not say, hey, you have to be upgraded to something else, to the next status. I don't know. Anyways, well, I do have the tips link pinned in the chat if you guys want to support the show that way. Also, reminder, I put my direct, I had a few people who'd reached out and asked for a direct Bitcoin link, a link straight to a wallet. So I put that in the description on the last one. And I'm going to come up with I was looking at a couple of options here for something that's more direct and easier to go to than going and trying to copy this super long string of digits and put it into a wallet and everything. I'm going to try to come up with a more streamlined way of doing that for those of you who would like that. So that'll be coming soon. But we do have some tips to catch up on here. First of all, got an alpha male alert.
Here comes the money.
Here we go.
Dave TBH.
Here comes the money. Money, money, money.
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar. Ching, ching, bling, bling, got the chatter. You ain't talking money, then your talking don't matter.
Thanks for the prayers.
You're welcome, my friend. Thank you for the tip. Everybody say a prayer for Dave. His mom died not too long ago, and her birthday just passed, and it hit him like a ton of bricks. So everyone say a prayer for the gayest man in the world, Mr. Dave Johnson.
You know, Dave Johnson is the gayest person to ever walk this green earth.
Come back. There we go. Thank you, Dave. Very much appreciate you. And then we've got Og.
White man is back,
$20.
baby. The white man is back.
Thank you, my friend. And hello. Hey, is it actually gonna? What's going on here? Is it stuck? Come on, do the thing. There it is.
Here
Another alpha male alert.
Here comes the
Heyo.
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar. Ching, ching, bling, bling, got the chatter. You ain't talking money, then your talking don't matter.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Viva Cristo Rey. You patriot. Thank you, my friend. Yeah, the tip got stuck. Oh, no. Thank you, guys. Very much appreciate you guys. Let me think here. Is there... We've got... I can't get out ahead of myself, but we've got some stuff cooking on the EWBSX front that is... Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait to get... I'm going to say join the King Pill Discord, because this is what I'm thinking about. When the time comes to start telling people, it's going to happen first in the King Pill Discord. We're going to need your guys' help with something before too long. Very interesting project. We've just got to kind of set up some... We're working on some back-end infrastructure for it, but then we're going to need some help from some of you guys. There's going to be a select number of people, but it's going to be drawn, first of all, from the King Pill Discord. So kingpill.com. Cheeky, you are in the Discord. You do not need to join it. You are in the Discord. yeah, I want to say stuff to you guys, but I can't get out ahead of myself just yet. I'm very excited about it. Had a number of long conversations today, and yeah, we're gonna have are we gonna have some fun? So yeah, kingpill.com. Just go to kingpill.com and sign up there, and that's the way to do it. All right, yeah, let's get started. So this first one here is let's see if any of you guys. Okay, you guys got to promise me something. If you've already seen this video, because it went around quite a bit the last couple of days. If you've already seen this video, then you're not allowed to react. But if you haven't seen the video yet, I want to see if any of you guys figure out who this guy is before the reveal of who he is. Famous meme person, all grown up. If you've already seen the video, you already saw this one going around. You have to hold your water until the reveal. But anyone else, I want to see if you guys can figure it out.
How old were you
when I played in the video?
Yeah.
I was 8.
What?
This man might not seem familiar at first, but just wait. He does something that leaves everyone stunned.
What's your name?
Brett.
I'm trying to figure out who you are. We also know your face, or is...
Oh, you definitely know my face. The meme came out in 2016, but the video was shot in 1989.
Oh!
Wow, crazy. So I didn't look like this.
And the second people realize who he is, they can't help but repeat his words, form the iconic meme all over again.
It's like the kazoo guy, for example. No. No. You are.
Oh my God! Are you the kazoo guy? Oh my God! Wait a minute. Who are you?
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Who are you?
Wait
a minute. Who are you?
How
The
old?
Kazoo Kid. It's crazy. I didn't figure it out. Like until they started saying the "wait a minute, who are you?" Then I realized it. But before that, I didn't figure it out. Now that I know it, I can't not see it. It's so obviously him, which is crazy. So it was filmed in 1989, but it was released in 2016 for some reason. Or at least that's when it became a meme. Yeah, the Kazoo Kid.
Are you?
Wait a minute. Who are you?
That's such a weird little video. If you guys don't know what it is, if you don't know the Kazoo Kid meme for some reason, just go look it up, because there's a lot more to the video, and it's an odd one. Okay, now you guys are get your Kleenex ready. This is a tug at the heartstrings, also make you very angry story.
Help scanning this. Thank you. What was your name?
Ed.
I'm Sam.
Okay.
I actually had someone nominate you from this store and said you're very hardworking.
Well, I try to be.
May I ask how old you are?
I'm 88.
And still working?
Yes, I have to.
Why do you have to keep working?
Retired from General Motors in 99. 2012, I went bankrupt, and they took my pension away from me.
Oh my gosh. Do you have a wife?
She passed away 7 years ago.
7 years ago.
She was sick when I lost my pension.
So you've been struggling a bit?
A little bit.
You said that you lost your pension?
Yes, sir, I did. I was in the Army back in 66.
So you're a veteran too?
Yes. The thing that hurt me the most was my wife was real sick. And they, when they took the pension, they also took the health care coverage.
Yeah.
And all but $10,000 of my life insurance.
Oh my gosh.
So I sold the house, sold the property I had, and we made it through. My wife died 7 years ago. Since then, I've been trying to reestablish myself.
And you're working here how many days a week?
I work 5 days a week, 8 hours a day.
And you do that because you have to, or?
Yeah, I don't have enough income.
What's your dream?
To live somewhat the life I was hoping for.
I'd like to share your story and try and, get people to help you retire.
Well, thank you.
Of course. You're amazing. I want to give you $400 here as a tip. Of course. You're amazing,
Thank you.
man. Of course.
I don't know what to say. It goes a long way to help me.
Give you a hug?
Yeah, thank you.
Lots of love. Just seeing if I could have help scout.
So, there is a very happy development in this story. Someone put together a GoFundMe for the man, and it has crossed $1 million. He's going to be able to retire. This is when the internet is just a beautiful, beautiful thing. My wife's the one who sent this to me, and she said when she contributed to it, it's at 1.45 million. Holy crap. When she contributed to it, it was, she said it was at like 800K. And now it's at 1.45 million. That's beautiful. That is great. Very happy. Score one for the internet. Totally. And she says that's all that channel does. They find people who need help and crowdfund the help. See, this is like, you cannot get blackpilled about humanity, man. This is why when people want to say social media is just is bad, it extends out to all of technology. It depends on how you use it. Like, one of my favorites, you cannot convince me away. I've heard all the arguments. You cannot convince me away from this. One of my favorite forms of content are the guys who go around and find elderly people and landscape their yards, like mow their lawn and weed eat and edge their sidewalks and everything, or what do you call it? Power wash their driveway. And they do it for free because they generate so much engagement through the channel that the channel provides them their income, and they can go around and do this stuff for free for people. This is why you can never blackpill me on the internet or on social media or on people in general, because this sort of thing is out there. It's beautiful. Okay, so I saw a couple of you guys were saying that you don't know the Kazoo Kid meme. So we're going to go back, and you guys are going to be introduced to You on Kazoo.
You on kazoo.
Don't run, jump, or dance while playing the kazoo. Thanks.
Ouch! Oh, hi. Wait a minute. Who are you? I'll tell you a secret. Sometimes I get a little quiet when I meet lots of new kids. You know what? I think we're gonna be friends.
Special friends.
And when I'm with friends, I like to have fun. I like to sing, dance, pretend, and kazoo.
Hubby Paul Beck says, bro, I can't tell you how many times I watched this with my housemates while tripping on shrooms. Yeah, total fever dream, Straight Buster. Isaac says, imagine not being a Zoomer in 2016 watching the Kazoo Kid edits and meme compilations. That tells me just how extremely online I am. That I knew exactly the Kazoo Kid meme immediately.
Hi to my friend.
Hello, I'm Hilda.
Jonathan!
The N-word!
I'm Carl.
Can we do more kazoo?
Yeah, I like to kazoo. Me too! Kazoo can do anything with a kazoo.
Hey-o!
That's crazy.
I like pretending different animals. Let's pretend more.
Yoo-hoo, kids!
It's me, the pretend spirit.
I just remembered the special way to get the spirit out to play. Your hips and your toes. Kind of like you're dancing. I think the spirit's coming out to play.
Why are adults
Keep
doing the voices with the kids?
Let's go over here. Just you and me.
I'm very concerned.
I just wanted to say thanks. I'm glad you came along. Partner, I want to sing a song just for you. 'Cause you're my special friend. Special friends. Special friends. Now that I know you, now that you know me, till the end of time, we will always be special friends.
Oh, I'm so glad I got to introduce you guys to this.
Special friends. We will be special friends. Special friends. We will be. Special friends. You're my special friend.
Oh, you guys are my special friends. Did you know that? The 80s were very, very weird. Okay, now how about a palate cleanser? From Commander Gregory Bovino, absolute American patriot, a warning to illegal aliens. Los Angeles, Chicago, and Charlotte were just the beginning. We're going to arrest you. Do you understand?
Notorious.
I'm going to arrest you. Do you understand?
Look at my spaghetti American. But you might say, what a piece of Kino. But I'm here to tell you, it gets so much better. Look at this. Look at this from the DHS account. They're Mads posting. The DHS account is Mads posting, you guys. Someone gave the DHS handle to Surf. And then they said, Mads posting will continue until morale improves. Ah! I love this timeline. Mads posting said, I swear I'm not an admin of this account. Absolutely incredible. We got to see it again. Okay, Kalmrosh is saying to click the DHS account comment. Ah! Is there a specific one? Or is it just the Mads posting reply? Look at all the mutuals in here. Oh, I swear, please, Mads, don't comment. Just don't. Just keep it to yourself. Oh, this is so good. For those of you who may not have been in, maybe you don't know what the Mads meme is. It's Mads Mikkelsen. This is the actor, Mads Mikkelsen. And this type of edit has been a thing for a while. It's like Gio Scotti posting. It's the same thing. It's a really, really niche right-wing Twitter or Gosling posting. Yeah, it's a very, very niche right-wing Twitter meme that is basically exclusively trafficked in by racist frog posters. This is just direct pandering to racist frog posters. That's what this is right here. It's actually sort of like an actual dog whistle. They're posting something that the average person is going to see, and they're just going to be kind of like, oh, what a weird little video that they posted. But those who know, they know exactly what it is. Mytho Miller, this is a great account. Great account. You got to go follow Mytho Miller. Kind of like Mytho Maga, but Mytho Miller. Just nonstop Kino. Look at this. Just look at these. You could boo a prophet, but you can't unwrite the prophecy. Look at young Stephen Miller.
Hi, I'm Stephen Miller. Some of you may or may not know who I am. We don't have time to get into that right now.
Santa Monica High, the alma mater of Patriots.
I don't know much about him, but I know that he's pretty right-wing.
He expresses his views in an insulting way, and that makes him look like he has no integrity. And that's really unfortunate because
Shut up, bitch!
He's a great politician.
I first met Stephen Miller in 7th grade, and when I knew him, he was a liberal Democrat, and over the next few months of our friendship, he became a conservative Republican. I like to think that I had a big influence over that, although he'll probably tell you otherwise.
Santa Monica High School is predominantly liberal, so...
Just waiting for somebody to see that and be like, oh, see, he's faking. In 7th grade, he was a Democrat. He's been playing the long game.
With him, kind of adds some flavor.
I'm the only candidate up here who really stands out.
Adds like something that we can really argue against.
I will say and I will do things that no one else in their right mind would say or do.
Like, I do like that he's really...
We're going to do things to you that have never been done before.
really good about voicing his opinions, but I don't like the way he does it. For example, last year at the elections pep rally or something, I wasn't there.
Shut up!
I think I have a pretty
silly
accurate
woman.
note of what happened, which was that he got up there, he was running for something, Speaker of the House, something like that, treasurer or something.
Am I the only one who is sick and tired of being told to pick up my trash when we have plenty of janitors who are paid to do it for us?
And when I heard what he said, I was outraged because that shows such a shocking lack of respect for the people who clean our floors so that we can learn in a safe, clean environment. And that is absolutely disgusting and intolerable.
Personally, I would have laughed at that.
They're not getting paid to do that. They're getting paid to vacuum rugs, to erase chalkboards, to clean the toilets, to put toilet paper in, stuff like that. Our shit trash that we drop during lunch because we're too lazy to pick it up is not their concern. They should not have to work overtime to pick it up.
He's just joking. It's a joke.
And maybe he enjoys the infamy, like some perverted power trip or something, which I think is completely disgusting. He has a lot of power at the school, but he's using it for evil purposes.
He has a lot to be proud of. He's accomplished a lot.
It's the way he goes about presenting himself. He lacks integrity. He's insulting and he's disrespectful, and that is not okay.
That's because most people are so uptight, and they don't realize the humor in some of the things he says.
I find his actions appalling and infuriating, and it's really hard for me to tolerate him. While all this is true, everything I've said about him, he makes me mad, all this stuff, I do respect him as a person. I have had a few pleasant conversations with him, and I'd really like to actually get to know him better.
She wants to actually get to know him better. After all of that, she wants to actually get to know him better. Oh, look at this. It's just a whole timeline full of Kino. Look at this. An excerpt from Stephen Miller's op-ed on unpatriotic dissent, released in the Duke Chronicle, February 7th, 2006. Dissent is not necessarily patriotic. It can be, but it can also be treasonous. It depends entirely upon the nature and content of one's dissension. To dissent is no more unequivocally patriotic than to place someone under citizen's arrest is unequivocally justified. Dissent is a tool, and you are accountable for how you use it. My man knew that the truce chimp dialectic was going to appear someday. Place someone under false arrest and you're a kidnapper. Support America's enemies and you're considered a traitor. Yet many of those most radical critics of the United States will insist they're simply fulfilling their patriotic duty. But how far does this logic go? Is a spy giving American military secrets to foreign governments simply fulfilling a patriotic duty? What if the spy earnestly believes that America is an evil nation and what he is doing is for the best? That the dissenter believes in what he is doing is not enough. A dissenter's actions must be guided by a love for this country and its citizens in order to be considered patriotic. Just wonderful, wonderful account. Go follow @MillerMytho. That they only have 2,800 followers is a damn shame. Look at that. It's damn it Jeremy follows them. Patriot spotted. They said a round of applause for this patriot. And look at this. King George Washington says, well, so first of all, you got the meme here. Get in, patriot. We're saving America. And he says, I'm already in. I'm currently in ICE. Literally just started my second day. I will have to have 13 weeks of training starting sometime in January. Shout out to this guy right here. King George Washington, you're a patriot. What does it say here? Report suspicious anti-patriot activity to ICE. That's what they're there for. If you see any suspicious anti-patriot activity, go report him to ICE. Slutty Buck says George Washington is an ICE agent and you're blackbilling. And so I said, make working for ICE high status. Ooh and ah when you find out someone works there. Give them special discounts at restaurants, subsidized subscription services, special interest deductions. The homeland is the battleground. Embrace and elevate the warriors in the field. And I mean this, like, we need to, if you run a business, make a big show of having some sort of like special discount or special deal that you're running for ICE agents. We need to make it. We can force this to become reality. Treat them like they're high status, and then they will be high status. That's how status works. There was a saloon in Idaho giving free beer if you get people deported. This is exactly the sort of thing we need. Business, if you prove that you got someone deported, I think it was like free beer for a month or something like that, which is like that's a good deal. Blue line flag, but for ICE. Yeah, flag bros, work on that. Come up with an ICE variant of it. What was the other comment up here? I saw something. Oh yeah, Slutty Muck says if I learn someone is in ICE at the bar, I'm buying them a round or 5. It's exactly that sort of thing. That's how we make it high status. All right, here's this new DHS memo. Here, that was December 2 of 2025 policy memorandum. Subject: hold and review of all pending asylum applications and all U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services benefit applications filed by aliens from high-risk countries. Here's a breakdown. It's a full asylum freeze for everyone. Not just high-risk countries, not just certain categories. All I-589 asylum cases are paused nationwide. It says, place a hold on all forms I-589 regardless of nationality. Literally every asylum case in the country, no matter where you're from. They're all paused indefinitely. Number 2, all pending applications from 19 countries are frozen. So this includes green cards, ROC, green card replacement, parole or travel docs, N470, etc. If you're from one of the 19 listed countries, everything stops until DHS completes security checks. And I don't want to hear a single fucking thing about how this is bad because it doesn't include XYZ country. The only thing you should be saying is, yes, fantastic, this is wonderful, extend this out to more countries. I don't want to hear a single fucking thing about, oh, this is just countries Israel doesn't like. I don't give a shit what Israel thinks about them. I don't want anybody from those 19 countries. If you're counter-signaling this because Israel might want it, you are de facto demanding that people be brought in from those countries just because Israel doesn't want them.
Welcome to the Gulag. If you survive, you earn your freedom.
Thank you, Super Skunk. New subscriber on Kick. You're a patriot. Let's give you let's do an Erica.
Auf der Heide blüht ein kleines Blümelein. Und das heißt Erika.
Oh, it says here, Vivo Cristo, I've never seen one of these before. Vivo Cristo Rey has purchased the unisex heavy blend hoodie from the store. Yes, on if you use the Streamlabs link, it will actually take you. There is a merch store for KINGPIN. I don't know if you knew that was there. I haven't done much with it. I just sort of set it up and then haven't really put a lot of attention to it. So, if you guys want to buy some merch, then I can put a little more attention into it. Thank you, Viva Cristo Rey. Yes, I don't care what reason you're providing me for why these people are not going to be allowed in the country. I just don't want them in the country. Literally any reason whatsoever, doesn't matter. Just get it done. Just make it happen. Number 3, mandatory interviews for all. Every single person has to be interviewed, mandatory, no waivers. Every single case must be interviewed, even if normally exempt. And if they actually are interviewed, there are also new standards whereby people who are interviewing them can reject them on the basis of that interview. Nobody's getting wavered through. Number 4, a retroactive re-review of previously approved cases. So anyone from these 19 countries who entered the U.S. since January 20 of 2021. What date is that? January 20, 2021. So from the beginning of the Biden administration, anybody who entered the country from those designated 19 countries is going to be reinvestigated. So that's anybody with a green card, with an EAD, anyone who already passed interviews, any travel documents, and even some naturalization applicants. So people who entered the country after 2021 who have become naturalized citizens are going to have their naturalization investigated. And then DHS may expand the dragnet even further. The memo says they may extend re-review to people who entered before 2021. This is, definitionally, this is the broadest operational immigration freeze USCIS has issued in decades. Now add to this from the Homeland Security account. Got a clip here from Tricia McLaughlin. It said but Homeland Security says the damage that the Biden administration did to this country cannot be overstated. And then I'll read that paragraph here after I play the video.
So, I was thinking about this because we get so many people from all over the world. Is the problem country of origin, or is it the vetting process?
Well, it's both, especially under the Biden administration. We saw with this terrorist here, he was barely vetted. There was no biometric vetting. There was no criminal background check, cyber background check, financial background check. Really, they took some people and he just took them at their word. That's a huge problem. And it really can't be overstated what the Biden administration did to this country and putting it in danger. So I would say absolutely the vetting process is an issue, but these countries of origin too. We're looking at the data. Secretary Noem is certainly looking at analysis there and saying, is it the country of origin? Are these people really taking advantage of our system, defrauding the American taxpayer, using our social security net really as a hammock and taking advantage of the American people.
So, President Trump and Secretary Noem are putting an end to the reckless policies that allowed millions of illegal aliens and foreigners into our country unvetted. The vetting process will now require the country of origin to cross-reference biometric data and criminal history, include social media screening, and direct individuals to check in every year. So, what does this tell you? Certain countries of
Welcome
origin
to the Gulag.
don't even have this
If you
capacity.
survive, you earn your freedom.
Thank you to Lex777 for subscribing on Kick. Let's give you a this one.
Okay. What kind of American are you?
Kaboom. Colin Ross says the checks they're requiring end third world migration because those countries don't keep the records needed. Exactly. Biometric screening is stuff that certain countries aren't even going to be capable of doing. So what are these taken together? What could you draw from this? I would say
White man is back, baby!
Super Skunk.
The white man is back!
The government reopened, so now I have no excuse not to pay you. Love the show. Make more Ericssons.
Patriot, thank you, my friend. I appreciate you. We got another Fed watching, boys. Government reopened. He's getting paid again. Was that? I didn't even hear that. What I would say is the white man is back, baby. That's perfect. Thank you, President Trump, for paying the Labians so that they could pay me. My president's got my back. What this is they have created. They're doing as much as they can within the present environment to get to a Europeans only immigration policy. That's kind of what they're like bureaucratically backing their way into, while maintaining plausible deniability. Because presently, right now in this environment, it was nigh unto illegal to talk about Great Replacement, the Great Replacement theory, like, I don't know, 18 months ago, 2 years ago. That's where the zeitgeist was at. So we're not anywhere close to people just like your average normie voter being like, yeah, completely end all immigration except for people from white countries. They're going to have a natural like, from that. You're setting yourself up for a scandal that's really going to appeal to a lot of people. Just because that's where people's brains are. Now, they're not going to be that way a year or two from now. The way things are going right now, it's going to be completely normal and fashionable to be like, yeah, we should basically only have immigration from other white countries within a couple of years. It'll be like white countries and Asian countries, and then we should have really selective immigration from any other like non-white countries. Anything Middle Eastern, African, South American, it should be much more selective for that. So, like you gotta see the direction that we're heading. You gotta see the trajectory. You can't have your frame locked in one place at one time. All these things taken together, they're more immigration restrictive than anyone has been in the government for decades. Immediately on the heels of the almost complete normalization of total open borders. And now the trajectory is heading back in the other direction. I wanted to include this one before we talk about some of these clips from Trump and the cabinet meeting of the last couple of days. I wanted to include this one just because this is the sort of rhetoric coming directly from the press secretary. This is the mouthpiece of the administration. This is the way that they feel about immigration.
President Trump has done more to crack down on illegal immigration and to strengthen our legal immigration system than any president in history. Several months ago, he announced a travel ban on 19 third world and failed state countries around the world. Secretary Noem announced tonight she's recommending that travel ban widens and covers more countries around the globe. Special immigrant visas, which we know many Afghans have used to come into our country, there has been a complete suspension and pause on all of those. If you look at the entire visa process in general, we have greatly strengthened and heightened the vetting process and requirements for that under Secretary Rubio's leadership at the State Department. And he has used his authority, which is unprecedented, to actually revoke the visas of many individuals who, yes, came here legally, but still pose a risk to our country and should have never been allowed in the first place. And I would just remind people around the world that coming to the United States of America is a privilege. It is not a right. And if you abuse that privilege, and if you don't align with the values of the United States, and you don't respect our country, our culture, our laws, and our people, you are not welcome here under the leadership of President Donald J. Trump.
You are not welcome here. Yes, Slutty Milk. Remember when Trump could barely pull off a Muslim ban in term one? How big of an uproar there was? Now he's just steamrolling these travel bans and moratoriums through like nothing. That's how far and fast we've traveled. So she's speaking to not just illegal immigration, but also drastically constraining and slowing legal immigration. And it has to start rhetorically. The rhetoric is part of the process. Number one, for discouraging self-deportations. Number two, for establishing the posture of the administration that's going to be forced down to the greatest extent possible through all the enforcement agencies. And to inform the bureaucratic inertia that carries forward. So the rhetoric is not the rhetoric is not of no value. It actually is valuable to have the rhetoric, and then it's clearly not hollow, given how thoroughly and rigorously they're following through on these things. Is it as far as we want them to go? Of course not. Is it wildly further than I expected them to go within 10 months? Yes, for sure. Absolutely. And if you thought that they were going to go further, you did not have an appreciation for just how bad things were. Remember, first term, less than 10 years ago, 8 years ago, Trump could barely get travel bans from particular countries passed. Now, he's sitting here with the press talking like this.
And they contribute nothing. The welfare is like 88%. They contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you, okay? Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country.
Their country is no good for a reason.
I could say that about other countries, too. I can say it about other countries, too. We don't want them to hell. We have to rebuild our country. You know, our country's at a tipping point. We could go bad. We're at a tipping point. I don't know if people mind me saying that, but I'm saying it. We could go one way or the other, and we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country.
Garbage!
Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. These aren't people that work. These aren't people that say, let's go, come on, let's make this place great. These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain. And from where they came from, they got nothing. You know, they came from paradise, and they said, this isn't paradise. But when they come from hell, and they complain, and do nothing but bitch, we don't want them in our country. Let them go back to where they came from and fix it. Thank you very much.
My president is a poet.
Mr. President, has Maduro offered to leave?
Yes.
Has Maduro offered to leave? Mr. President, has Maduro offered to leave?
Yes. Mr. President, has Maduro offered to leave? And it looks like Trump nods and says he will.
Mr. President, has Maduro offered to leave?
Yes. He will, yeah. That's what he said. Mr. President, has Maduro offered to leave? And he said he will. Interesting. We'll talk about Maduro here in just a little bit. Look at Pete over here. Then, so that was I believe that was yesterday. Yeah, that was yesterday. And then I had this thought series from Solianath. He says this rhetoric would have gotten any of us banned at basically any point prior to this year. And it did. Many of us made new accounts and got banned multiple times a month for saying things exactly like this. It's easy to become disillusioned in the thick of it all when progress isn't as fast as you'd like, but sometimes you have to take a few steps back to see how much progress has been made. I want to continually drive that home. If you showed this video to me in 2016 and told me that 1 year into his second term, Trump had ordered a review of millions of legal immigrants' visas on the basis of them being third worlders, I would assume that we had won completely. Of course, 2016 me would have had no idea what all led to this and just how much of a struggle is ahead of us. And it's completely true that this could come back to destroy all of us if sufficient action isn't taken. But I also see less than no point in pretending that progress isn't actually being made. Yeah, there were several more countries that I wish were on the visa review and moratorium list. They'll also never get there if we can't give honest praise where it's due. A moratorium and visa review like this weren't even really campaign promises. The feedback loops that have given parts of our rhetoric the support of several of the biggest creators in the world, and, the president of the USA, rely on at least being honest about this. It's the exact same as after Charlie Kirk's murder. I have no enemies on the right. We have a few years to continue pushing our message almost unchallenged, and I fully intend to take advantage of every moment of that. Trump's win gave us a fighting chance. The thought just occurred to me that the people who want to constantly counter-signal the administration and second-guess and snarkily critique and it's not good enough post and all of that, the difference between them and we MAGA chuds, the true truthsters, is we have crossed the Rubicon. They don't want to. They're afraid to cross the Rubicon, so they're standing back on the other side, sniping at the people who already have. Oh, you're not moving fast enough. Haha, you shouldn't have crossed. But look at me back here safely on the other side. I'm not committing to anything. I'm just going to be a critic. I'm going to stand here in the peanut gallery and just critique. And if you guys go out, if you take the risks, you take all the slings and arrows, you pave the way for me, then once it's nice and cleared out, then, I'm not going to get yucky, muddy water on my clothes. I'm not going to get my socks wet. Then I'll come across. Then I'll cross the Rubicon as well. You guys go ahead and cross it for me, and I'm going to critique you on your Rubicon crossing form. Yeah, the man in the arena. If any man is in the arena, it's Donald J. Trump. That was yesterday. This was today.
And all they do is complain, complain, complain. You have her. She's always talking about the Constitution provides me with... go back to your own country and figure out your Constitution. All she does is complain about this country, and without this country, she would not be in very good shape. She probably wouldn't be alive right now. So Somalia is...
I am in awe.
Considered by many to be the worst country on earth. I don't know. I haven't been there. I won't be there anytime soon. I hope. But what Somalia...
My president doesn't even want to travel to your shithole country.
What the Somalian people have done to Minnesota is not even believable. It's not even believable. And a lot of it starts with the governor. And
the seriously retarded governor, Tim Walz. The dude literally said, you want to sit here and talk about our Constitution? How about you go get your own? Go to your country. This is ours. I don't want to hear you whine and complain and bitch about our country when you come from a shithole that doesn't even have a Constitution. How about you go get your own shit together? My president is fed up. Now this one here is just, gotta have some of these just for fun.
It's nice to be with you. Welcome to the final cabinet meeting of 2025, a year that will go down as the most consequential and successful first year of any administration. They're saying that.
So
not
true.
Me. Oh, I say it too, actually. A lot of people are saying it. And consequential and successful first year of any administration. They're saying that. Not me. Oh, I say it too, actually. A lot of people are saying it. And a lot of that is thanks to the men and women in the cabinet.
His little sing-song voice. They're saying it, not me. Well, I say it too, actually. And then this one here was cracking me up. Him making fun of Jerome Powell. My president has the best insults. Nobody can trash talk like Donald Trump can.
Down 86%, thank you. And mortgage rates, despite the fact that we have an incompetent chairman of the Fed, a real dope.
A real dope.
Who should reduce rates. I saw even Jamie Dimon said he should be reducing rates. I never saw Jamie Dimon say that. I wonder
Uncle Jamie mentioned. Where you at, Mr. Sue?
why he said that. But he really said it because he's right. But we have a guy that's just a stubborn ox who probably doesn't like your president, your favorite president. But
how does he do it? We've got a guy who's a stubborn ox who probably doesn't like your president, your favorite president.
Who probably doesn't like your president, your favorite president. But
effortless.
They're going to be coming down. We'll be announcing somebody probably early next year for the new chairman.
It's interesting he says early next year because it's sounding more and more. He's really starting to hint at it being Kevin Hassett, and he's making some really open hints on it. So I'd be kind of surprised if it's not leaked before, or it's not announced, at least leaked if not announced before early next year. But I'm still kind of waiting for a rope-a-dope on it. Like it's seeming more, all the markets all think it's Kevin Hassett, and Wall Street's coming out and like soberly saying, oh, we don't think that would be good. And, I don't know. We'll see. A gentleman known as Donald J. Trump. Said by Donald J. Trump. Like who would refer to the Fed chair as a real dope and a stubborn ox who probably doesn't like your president, your favorite president, said in the third person? It's just he's wonderful. Okay, so you guys might have heard about these new Trump savings accounts. I actually first heard about these. I think it was last year in the lead up to the election. Brad Gerstner was on the All In podcast. It was either All In podcast or maybe he was on with Joe Lonsdale, talking about these accounts and the whole idea with this. So they've now been officially launched, officially announced. The big beautiful bill appropriated the funding for them, and now they've been officially announced by the White House. There's a website for it, and they start July 4, 2026. So parents can contribute up to $5,000 annually. Employers can contribute up to $2,500, and this is pre-tax income. So, in theory, if both parents were employed, in theory, you could get $10,000 contributed to it annually pre-tax.
This is how these accounts will work, and how others, as we've been saying, can get involved in them. The parents can contribute up to $5,000 annually. Mm-hmm. Employers can contribute up to $2,500. And this is just one point I want to make here that I know you would want us to highlight. This is pre-tax income, okay?
The vehicle matters here.
So this lowers, you and your spouse make a certain amount of money. If you give your child $5,000, you take that out of your pre-tax income. So it lowers your taxable income and allows you to pass it on to your child.
It's not just good for the kid. Everybody who contributes to this is getting a benefit from it. And again, it's not we're making you do it. It's we're inviting you into prosperity, and that's going to be so much more motivating than any kind of tax requirement the government's going to put on.
So what this is going to be is it's for children who are born. So let me back up. So for children who are born between, I believe I don't remember the date that it starts. I think it runs through 2028. So it's basically through the end of Trump's term, but I don't remember if it starts with the 4th of July 2026 or if it starts with the beginning of the year 2026 or what date it is. But it's for newborns who are born in that window. The federal government will seed it with an initial $1,000. Now, any other child who's under 18, you can open an account for them. The government's not going to seed it with the initial $1,000, but if your child is under 18, you can open one of these accounts for them. And then you can contribute, the parents can contribute $5,000, employers can contribute up to $2,500. And I'm sure there's going to be other ways for people to make this work, to be able to invest in it. So this is another employer benefit that can be offered to employees. Now, above and beyond this, Michael Dell and his wife came out and announced that they are going to donate $6.25 billion to this initiative. So for 25 million children, and this is going to be, it's the eligible children who are in, I believe it's counties where the median or average income is below $150,000. So it's like the low and middle class counties are going to be the 25 million children in those are going to each get $250 for this account from Michael Dell and his wife. Now, I feel bad saying this because this is really freaking cool. Like having, I don't care what their motivation is with this. Having elites, billionaires say we're going to donate $6.25 billion to fund retirement accounts for American kids is really cool. This is you want to incentivize more of this. However, I do have to say that just beware when this video begins, there's a little bit of a jump scare.
This is really exciting.
Absolutely. It's a very special moment. We're making a $6.25 billion investment in America's kids through our charitable funds.
Next year, every American child will be able to get an investment account powered by Invest America.
We've seen what happens when a child gets even a small financial head start. Their world expands.
The real power of these accounts is that anyone can contribute. Parents, relatives, friends, everyone can help shape a child's future.
To philanthropists, companies, community leaders, if you want to be part of something truly meaningful for our kids, for our communities, for our country, join us.
And to parents and caregivers, stay tuned and get ready to activate your child's account. Every contribution can grow over the years, just like your child.
Together, we can make possibility something every child can count on.
And that's a future
What is that?
worth investing in.
So again, this is awesome. That's very, very cool. Major shout out to the Dells for this contribution. Wow. Yeah. So $250 deposits for children ages 10 and under. This is expanding early access to investment accounts powered by Invest America. And let me see what the specific details were for this. So, okay, so it's babies born on or after January 1, 2025. So it was retroactive back to the beginning of 2025. So between January 1, 2025, and I believe sometime, I think December 31st, 2028, all babies born in that time will have an initial investment account funded by the U.S. Treasury to the tune of $1,000. Raymond Harmon on X says, IRA for children that bypasses insolvency via population decline, Social Security, count me in. Right, that's exactly what this is. What this is a way to start phasing out Social Security. This is like a replacement for Social Security that actually has incentives properly aligned. And the doomers and the cynics will say this is just like a bail-in for the stock market, and of course it is. But like, one thing I realized is that I was thinking about this the other day. I remember, I don't want to say that the banks being bailed out, like they absolutely after 2008, there's a number of banks and hedge fund managers and stuff that probably should have gone to prison. However, the idea that there are certain institutions that are too big to fail is not unrealistic at all. There are certain institutions that, I'm sorry, I think that the government absolutely should step in and prevent them from failing. And they should try to do that in the best way possible that has minimal negative externalities, of course. But I don't, the idea, this like libertarian idea of, oh, just let it collapse and die and burn, no matter who gets crushed in the fallout, it's never going to be realistic. That sort of perspective is never going to take hold from a policy point of view. So, like, yeah, we don't want the stock market to just totally tank and absolutely collapse everyone's investment portfolios. Oh, they shouldn't have. It was malinvestment, and it's sure, whatever. No, it's good to support the stock market and prevent the stock market from completely tanking. So, if you're by doing this, you're putting in like a socialized floor on the stock market and buying everybody into it, creating sort of like I don't know, kind of visualize it. I don't know how to put it into words. You're like plugging everybody into the system to ensure that the system has like a base of stability in it. Sure, great, fine, do it. This idea that like, oh, the stock market's just going to go away and it can just collapse and you know everybody's retirements are all just wiped out and this isn't going to be somehow massively socially catastrophic in a way that structurally supporting and preventing the collapse of the stock market isn't. I mean, whatever. I'm not going to try to die on that hill. So what they're doing is, they said to our charitable funds, we're thrilled to be contributing $6.25 billion to seed 25 million additional accounts with $250 each. These deposits will reach the accounts of most children aged 10 and under who were born prior to the qualifying date for the federal newborn contribution. Children older than 10 may benefit too if funds remain available after initial signups. It's an incredibly practical and direct step to help families begin saving today. Our investment builds on the bipartisan leadership that made Invest America possible. It also reflects something more, the power of collective action. This is not just about what one couple or one foundation or one company can do. It's about what becomes possible when families, employers, philanthropists, and communities all join together to create something transformative. And like frankly, this is great. Yeah. Let me see the billionaires and philanthropists put their money directly into something like this. Give me more of that. So shout out to the Dells for their contribution to this. And then a couple of notes with respect to the automotive industry. First of all, from the One Big Beautiful Bill, the president says he's so proud of the auto loan interest deductibility under his One Big Beautiful Bill.
And we're doing things like deductibility of interest when you borrow money. To buy a car, you're allowed to deduct it from your income tax. That is a massive tax cut for people that probably are going to be trying to buy that car anyway. And I really think that interest factor is going to be one of the biggest things. When I was proud of that because I thought of it, and it seems so simple. Other people are allowed big interest. If you're a rich person, you're allowed to have big interest deductions for different things you do. But if you're a middle-income person that has to buy a car, you were never entitled to anything. And now you're getting a full interest deduction on the loan. And I think that's going to have one of the biggest impacts.
And this is the sort of thing that you can hear the man understands how this stuff works. The man knows how debt works. The man knows how to navigate the tax system. So now he's saying, let's give the little guy the ability to navigate the tax system in the same way that the rich people do. So yeah, cheaper new American cars plus the loan interest deduction. This is affordability. This is absolutely affordability. Furthermore, they also terminated Joe Biden's CAFE standards. This is a big one today. And in the midst of that, Trump also said this. My bros out there who want like a compact pickup truck, listen to this.
If you go to Japan, where I just left, and if you go to South Korea and Malaysia and other countries, they have a very small car, sort of like the Beetle used to be with the Volkswagen. They're very small, they're really cute. And I said, how would that do in this country? And everyone seems to think good, but you're not allowed to build them. And I've authorized the secretary to immediately approve the production of those cars. So you'll be able to buy, they really are, they're actually, some of them are really beautiful, actually. If you take a look, Honda, some of the Japanese companies do a beautiful job. But we're not allowed to make them in this country. And I think you're going to do very well with those cars. So we're going to approve those cars. Would you like to say something about that?
Well, no, just that he never stops working. So even when he's on Asian time, he's calling me at midnight in the States. But he gave me the directive to clear the regulations on this, which we have. And so if Toyota or any other company wants to make smaller, more affordable cars, fuel efficient, we have cleared the deck so they can make them in America and sell them in America.
They're really nice and less.
Make them in America and sell them in America. Not just, okay, now we can import these. No. You guys can come build your factories to manufacture these previously illegal, small, affordable, efficient little vehicles. Now they can be built, manufactured here in America, and sold in America. And when you take out a loan for any of them, you can deduct the interest from it.
It's expensive, and it really gives people a chance to have a car, have a brand new car as opposed to a car that maybe isn't so great.
This is going to be, like, I don't know the direct details of this because there's a little, it's rolling back standards to, I think, the Obama era. So this is like rolling back the emission standards by, I think, 10 or 12 years. And then I think there's more underway, but like this is what they could get done first. And so I don't know if this means that we're actually going to be able to get Hiluxes again, but that's definitely the direction that this is going. Also, yeah, the diesel emission standards thing needs to be addressed as well, which I suspect is absolutely going to be, because with this big emphasis on industrialization and trying to get American industry and manufacturing and all the building projects that have to be done, seems like there's no way that this isn't going to happen. Blaine Morgan says, as a car guy, this is big for me. Look at what a president taking care of his people. Yes, absolutely. It's so his new presidential guard can have a fleet of Hiluxes to put their unfunded AA guns on the back of. Yeah. Look at our Rue boy there with the jokes. Slutty Milk says, and then gas prices falling means it's even easier to afford having that car, and deportations potentially reducing car insurance rates in some areas as DUI Mexicans get cleared out. Yes, like, think about the downstream effect after like 3 to 5 years of this. As these things start compounding on each other, we just, all that we need is we just need to be able to maintain this regime as much as possible and slog through whatever bullshit we have to get through for the next 3 to 5 years. And then, okay. Roast vote. Darth Russ here just dropped the hammer at the cabinet meeting talking about deregulation. Look at my OMB American.
Mr. President, last time I was here, I said that the amount of dereg that we had for regulatory was 30 to 1. Since then, it's up to 48 to 1. Your goal had been 10 to 1, which was in excess of 6 to 1 in the first term. It's actually much higher than that, but I made my team redo the threshold a little bit because it sounded so unbelievable. But the amount of work that's being done with this entire team is astronomical. And another detail in that is that when we propose a rule, some of the biggest ones that you care the most about don't go into that count until they are finalized. So next year we should be even more eye-popping. One of those to talk about is the federal acquisitions regulations, which you gave.
So what he's talking about is that the standard, the goal for this administration was, I think there was even an executive order that Trump issued that for every new regulation introduced, there had to be 10 eliminated. And he said that right now it's at 48-1. So for every new regulation being introduced, they're sunsetting 48.
Gave us a charge 6 months ago to dramatically reduce. In 6 months, we've lowered it by 25%, 500 pages, 2,700 mandates, which is a third of the mandates. That's going to lead to savings, competition, and speed. So probably $40 billion for the agencies in savings over the course of 10 years. When we get up and running, it'll be north of between $200 and $400 billion. Competition, about 45% of government bids only have one bidder. So you got no competition in that situation. That will now change, and then we're just getting faster, months, and hopefully we turn it into years, which means you all around this table can buy things that you need quickly, and that you have better vendors to come, many of them small businesses who want to participate in the federal procurement process. So making all sorts of improvements on that front is very exciting.
Yes, improving the procurement process is a big thing. Big thing. You want to talk about waste, fraud, and abuse? The way that the government contracts system has been structured, particularly for the defense contractors, they're slashing this. I mean, even if they're not getting it to perfect 100% ideal utopian world efficiency, they're making some major dents in this, which means you're taking away the inefficiency on one hand and you're providing efficiency on the other hand. So you're actually getting paid off double here. So on one hand, you're getting rid of all the bloated, inefficient processes, but at the same time, you're also, for government contracts specifically, now you have lots of small businesses and just more competition for those contracts, meaning those contracts are being produced, being fulfilled more productively, which creates room for more. So you're winning on both ends here. This is the kind of stuff that it's been 10 months, 11 months now. 11 months. You're not going to see payoff from these things necessarily right away. It's been 4 months, 4.5 months since the big, beautiful bill was passed. This is the sort of thing that you're going to really start feeling the ripples of as it, it's kind of like you got a nice smooth pond and there's been an explosion under the surface and you're waiting for it to get up to you're starting to see the bubbles coming up before the ripples, before the massive explosion. We might be starting to see the bubbles, and pretty soon in the next few months, you're going to start seeing the ripples, and then probably mid-2026. Good night, Emperor Atreides. Ripples for your pleasure. Bonks in the chat for Ninja of Spades. And here's another one. SNAP funding. Democrats went and shut down the government over SNAP. Supposedly, the narrative was that this had to do with SNAP funding, and they provided a great opportunity to go audit the SNAP rolls. And listen to this.
We have so much great things to talk about at USDA, but the third thing, which became very much a part of the national conversation during the Democrat shutdown, was SNAP reform, food stamp reform. When all of America saw what so many of us know and have been working on, but when you have so much rampant fraud in a program that 42 million Americans participate in, now big good piece of news that I hope is written about. Since you became president, about 800,000 of those 42 million have moved off of food stamps, which is hopefully the plan, with better jobs, higher wages, etc. But still, when we found 186,000 dead people's Social Security numbers being used, 500,000 people receiving benefits more than twice. We had a couple of people receiving benefits in 6 states. In February of this year, we asked for all the states for the first time to turn over their data to the federal government, to let the USDA partner with them to root out this fraud, to make sure that those who really need food stamps are getting them, but also to ensure that the American taxpayer is protected. 21 states said yes, not surprised. 29 states said yes, not surprisingly, the red states, and that's where all of that data, that fraud comes from. But 21 states, including California, New York, and Minnesota, the blue states, continue to say no. So as of next week, we have begun and will begin to stop moving federal funds into those states until they comply and they tell us and allow us to partner with them to root out this fraud and to protect the American taxpayer. As Joe Biden was working to buy an election a year ago, he increased food stamp program funding by 40%. So now as we continue to roll that back. So
did you hear that last stat?
To buy an election a year ago, he increased food stamp program funding by 40%. So now 40%. As we continue to roll that back. So the partnership in Making America Healthy Again is also in food stamps, but a lot of what Bobby and I are doing together is really remarkable. But again, just gratitude and joy.
Raymond Harmon says, worst part of that, Kingpin, is that there is a market for making this kind of information immediate to the voter. And this is, I'm doing my best, man. We need all of these guys who are spending all of their time just yammering away about all the horrifying things waiting immediately around the corner for us. Could be spending all of their time talking about this, priming people for it, forcing this stuff into the zeitgeist, making it so that it is not possible for people to not know about this. Because the administration, they literally broadcasted this cabinet meeting where they're sitting there running through all of these things. What they need is they need media apparatuses who are immediately turning these into headlines and pumping them out for people. Hammering people with this over and over and over again. Look at everything the administration has done. Look at what this is going to accomplish. You should be waiting for this. You should be looking for this. Start expecting these things to show up in the economy, in your own cost of living. Things like the sharing the graphs of traffic all of a sudden being cleared up after ICE goes through a city, that sort of thing. Even if it doesn't tangibly, like, how do I say this? Hyper-reality. You got to understand hyper-reality. You have to condition people to look for these things, and as they begin looking for them, they will see them. But if you're not conditioning them to look for them, they may not see them even if they actually start happening. Gas prices could drop significantly. And they might sort of passively be like, oh yeah, gas is cheaper now. But they're not going to directly connect this unless the media does it. And obviously we've got shitty traitorous media, but the alternative media is no better. They're chasing down all these other things and they're like, oh, the midterms and blah, 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 blah. You know how you really get people bought in to vote for Republicans in the midterms? By demonstrating what the Republican administration has done and conditioning them to start looking for these improvements in their lives. So when they start seeing them, they're like, look at that. Republican administration did this great stuff. Now I feel like my life is starting to get better. I want more of this. Let me go out and let me vote for more of this. This is the role of the media. John Doyle said this. Republican media, MAGA media, needs to be 100% of the time fully in the mode of, here's everything that Donald Trump is doing to make your life better, and here's why every single thing he does is good and right. Without that, you're asking him to swim upstream. And he's going to do it. He's going to keep doing it. He's been doing it. That's not going to stop him, but we're only hurting ourselves. That's what Charlie did, as John also says. That's exactly what Charlie did. So just to put a fine point on that thing with the SNAP stuff. So starting next week, 21 Democrat-controlled states will lose federal SNAP funding for refusing to comply with USDA anti-fraud data requirements. That's a big deal, too. Because think about how much money that is. How many millions and millions and millions of dollars that is. And where does that money go? By and large, that money goes, it's like a direct subsidy to big box retailers. So those big box retailers in blue states are going to be hurting, and they're going to be leaning on the local officials to cooperate with the federal government. What it's also going to start doing is it's going to mean the federal government or not the federal government, but the local governments are also going to be really hurting for funding for their legitimate and illegitimate purposes. Holding SNAP funding from a blue state that's getting them by the short hairs. That's a really good way to force them into line very quickly. In the states that did comply, they found 186,000 dead people, their social security numbers being used. One of them I saw, I don't remember if I highlighted this for tomorrow's show, but one of them I saw, there was one social security number that had 71 people claiming benefits for it. 71 different people all being paid on a monthly basis under one social security number. Multiple people received benefits in 6 states. In February, for the first time ever, the federal government asked for all states to turn over their data to root out the fraud. 29 red states said yes, 21 blue states said no. So as of next week, we have begun and will begin to stop moving federal funds into those states until they comply. Here are the states, the blue states, that they are going to stop moving federal funds into. California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Illinois, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Vermont, Virginia, and Washington. I'm just looking at your looking at the comments here. Florida Girl says, but Matt, I have a feeling that half of these voters don't get it, and if they do, they go, but they take my cheap labor and Gibbs away. Yeah, for some of the people, it just you're not going to help anything. But a lot of the reason why, I mean, I've watched this happening. I've been watching this play out. That the media personalities, the influencers, et cetera, they all hammer away at a talking point for weeks. Some sort of, I don't know, like Epstein. Epstein was a great example. Nobody would have really cared about the whole Epstein thing if there wasn't a cottage industry of influencers repeating it constantly over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. You do that enough, and then pretty soon people just start repeating it, and then they really care about it. They didn't care about it until all of the people they get their opinions from talked about it relentlessly for weeks on end. And for many of them now, they've had this, their brain has been permanently broken by this, the Trump administration is covering up for Jeffrey Epstein. They just believe that now. And there's nothing that's going to dissuade them of that. Because a bunch of dishonest grifter hacks just chanted this same line over and over and over again for months. That same thing works the other way. If you get enough of these influencers, enough of these talking heads, the chattering class, if they were to just relentlessly hammer away at these talking points, look at all the things that President Trump is doing to attack the affordability issue. If they just relentlessly hammered on that, they could do it entirely cynically. Just hammer on it for 8 weeks. All of a sudden, President Trump's poll numbers, you would see a sharp upswing. Because the vast majority of people, 80 or 90% of people, are just going to passively just whatever goes into their head is just going to passively work its way out their mouth. And they're just going to believe whatever they've been conditioned to believe. Here's the vice president.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's an honor to serve with this great team that you've assembled. And I just want to pick up on something you said, Mr. President, because you hit the nail on the head. That it is absurd that Democrats talk about an affordability crisis that they created and the people around this table work every single day to address. You'll hear a lot of statistics today. You hear a lot of statistics in our political conversation. I think the most important statistic for the American people is that under the Biden administration, the average American family lost over $3,000 of household income. And under the first 10 months of this Trump administration, they have gained over $1,000 of household income. What that says very clearly is that we are fixing the problem that Joe Biden and the Democrats created in the last administration. If you look at every affordability crisis that's confronting the American people today, it is traceable directly to a problem caused by Joe Biden and congressional Democrats. Why did homes get so unaffordable? Because we had 20 million illegal aliens in this country taking homes that ought by right to go to American citizens.
So true.
Why did tax bills get so unaffordable? Because Democrats were raising taxes while congressional Republicans under the president's leadership, we're now cutting taxes. Why did food get so expensive? Because we printed trillions of dollars and threw it into green scams that made our agricultural economy suffer while Americans were paying higher prices for food. On every single one of those issues, Mr. President, I think we've made incredible progress. But it would be preposterous to fix every...
Like that right there. Everything he just said in that 90 seconds, if you are some sort of Republican, MAGA, America First person with an audience, and you aren't repeating these talking points ad nauseum, you're a hack. Especially if you're pearl clutching about Tennessee, the 7th Tennessee District special election and Republicans underperforming and what happens if we get cleared out in the midterms and they're going to impeach him and we're all going to go to camps. And I don't believe you. If that's what you're talking about, you don't actually believe that. You're posting slop for clicks. That's what you're doing. You're engagement farming. You're a dishonest, grifting hack. If you actually believed the things that you're saying, you would be chanting this mantra, the last 90 seconds of what he was talking about. You would be chanting that relentlessly every single day, telling every single person you know that this is the most effective American citizen-centric administration we've ever seen. And the only problem is that they don't have Congress on their side. And so we need to give them a supermajority in Congress. That's the only thing you should be talking about if you have an audience.
Every problem caused over the last 4 years in just 10 months. I think that we've done incredibly good. But what I see over the next year, and you heard Brooke talk about joy and gratitude. What I really think this season represents for me, and I think for the entire administration, is that we have now done incredible work to fix what Joe Biden broke. And I think that next year in American growth and American prosperity could be the best year that we've had in the United States of America. It's going to happen because we're all working hard. It's going to happen because we have the greatest country in the world. But I think for congressional Democrats in particular, if they want to talk about affordability, they ought to look in the mirror. We are fixing what they're broken. We're proud to do it. It's the job that we were elected to do. But I think 2026 is going to be the year where this economy really takes off.
Thank you very much.
So true, Mr. Vice President. So true. Now, here you go, right here. Here's one of these accounts. Dominic Michael Trippi. If this is even a real person. Picture looks fake. Where does it say he's from? He's from the United States. Account based in the United States. Fuck this guy. Fuck this guy. But even more, every single one of you guys just uncritically signal boosting him and reacting to what he says, you're a rube. Bad. Put down the phone. Go stick your nose in the corner for 10 minutes. Look at this. New. President Trump doubles down, reiterating that he thinks affordability issues are a hoax. Quote, I think affordability is the greatest con job. Now, if this is what the president said, then, yeah, that would be bad. Having Trump come out and say that he thinks affordability issues are a hoax, that would be a bad thing. Because affordability issues definitely are not a hoax. And you see, he's got a quote in here that this selectively edited, like 9 words or whatever this is, that supports the summary, reiterating that he thinks affordability issues are a hoax. This is editorializing. This isn't reporting. This is literally fake news. This is when I talk about breaking slop, this is what I mean. This is breaking slop. There's a bunch of these guys. Here's what Trump actually said. Quote, I mean, these are the facts we have to get out. And you know, there's this fake narrative that the Democrats talk about, affordability. They just say the word. It doesn't mean anything to anybody. They just say it, affordability. I inherited the worst inflation in history. There was no affordability. Nobody could afford anything. The prices were massively high. But the word affordability is a con job by the Democrats. They say affordable. I watched the other day where some very low IQ congresswoman talked about affordability, affordability, affordability. She had no idea. Their prices were much higher. But the word affordability is a Democrat scam. They say it, and then they go on to the next subject, and everyone thinks, oh, they had lower prices. No, they had the worst inflation in the history of our country. This is the actual quote. Does that sound like Trump is reiterating that he thinks affordability issues are a hoax? Very obviously not. But I saw plenty of people, I'm not going to go into the quote tweets and air people out, but I saw plenty of people quote tweeting this one or any of the other variety of these. There's a number of these guys that do this. And otherwise serious people will take this and then they will repeat that Trump thinks affordability issues are a hoax. And then they'll say stupid shit like the administration really has a messaging problem. They just can't stop saying things like this. Fuck off. Friends don't let friends engage with breaking slop. Dr. J, I'm streaming live now. I am a sticked constitutionalist and free market capitalist. Trump is a commie. You sound gay, man. Go away. How do I ban someone? There we go.
I'm a free market capitalist. Meet me, bro.
Yeah, and I'm not going to do that.
What a fag.
Here you go. Rapid Response 47. So here's the administration. The administration doing their messaging. What is their messaging? CNBC reports the national median rent just fell for the fourth straight month. More progress, more to be done. This is the administration's messaging. Look at that. When you deport a bunch of people, all of a sudden, national median rent goes down for the fourth straight month. This should be trending. Every single MAGA person, every person who wants to have their country back should be screaming this from the rooftops. Look at this. Housing affordability is moving in the right direction, finally. And the administration's perspective on this is more progress, more to be done. And you're telling me that that the administration has a messaging problem? No, you have an understanding problem. You have I'm a sucker for breaking slop doom porn addiction. That's the problem. And you're trying to project it out and externalize it on the administration so that you can just feel good about not doing anything to better your own situation. Derek at Suitable Politics says Republicans, and I don't just mean the elected GOP, might be the dumbest people to walk the face of the earth in the history of the planet. How on earth are online right-wingers minimizing this so fervently? You're so worried about the midterms, don't be. Nobody's going to vote for your stupid ass. You're earnestly telling everyone that your administration sucks and that nothing is happening. Truly, at a certain point, you should expect that people hear you. If you're earnestly telling everyone that your administration sucks and nothing is happening, at a certain point, you should expect people to believe that. Oh, Republicans are going to have a really bad turnout issue. here in the midterms because everyone's just going to be demoralized and apathetic. Said by these fucking faggots who are just demoralizing and breeding apathy every time they talk. Stop demoralizing people and then complaining that they're demoralized. I don't want to see a single reply trying to defend this nonsense because there's still more to be done. Of course there is. Do you think everyone is so dumb that you need to tell us all that? More to be done is literally in the post.
The only acceptable political theory is complete undying loyalty to Donald Trump.
Everyone wants to talk about how conservatives are beautiful losers. And like 90% of the guys who like to talk about conservatives being beautiful losers are like ugly, obnoxious, whiny losers. And they're earnestly embracing that identity. At least the conservatives were beautiful, man. What's wrong with you guys? You're losers too. And you're incredibly irritating while you do it. So let's talk about this special election that happened. We had a special election in a deep, but historically pretty deep red district in Tennessee. This is between, the guy's name was Matt Van Epps, I think. And here's the thing. Like, nobody knew anything about this until the Democrats decided they had a chance here. So they wanted to make this a national election. They pumped millions of dollars into this. They're going to make this a national election because they thought they might be able to steal something. And they're right up to till election day, there's all these polls coming out that are like, oh, this is like a neck and neck race. And it turned out that the Republican dude won by like 9 points. Wasn't even close. Wasn't remotely close. However, there's a bunch of people who have, how do you say this? Like, they know just enough to get themselves in trouble. They're like, they do this sort of like midwit tier analysis where they know more than the average person. So they could go and cite the numbers and the history and, oh, did you know this? I bet you didn't hear about this thing. Look at, if you go back and drill down to this district and in the past, they performed like this and then. But they totally leave out the context of this particular race, which is a special election a week after Thanksgiving, where basically nobody knew about it. So turnout was really, really low for it. And here's the thing, there's distinct profiles of the parties. And right now, the Democrats have a base comprised much more of high propensity voters. That is, people who they're like, politics is a hobby for them. They vote in every possible election they ever can because they follow this stuff really, really closely. There are much more Democrat high propensity voters than there are Republican high propensity voters. This has been a phenomenon for multiple election cycles now. Yeah, Raymond, they're just competent enough to understand something, but they're not enough to understand the whole thing. So the last several elections that have happened in this district, it's been something like Republican plus 22. And so these midwit commentators, like Robert Barnes and others, are casting this as this was a plus 13 Democratic shift. And let's just export this to the midterms. And if the midterms had a D plus 13 shift, Democrats would have like a supermajority in Congress. Ah! But that's not how this stuff works. You got to drill down into it just a little bit more than that. So again, you got these guys who they'll go and they'll understand just enough that they can pass themselves off as experts, so then they can just doom fap all over the timeline because they'll generate lots of engagement and they'll get the big Twitter payouts for it. And then they get to do this riding my moral high horse thing. But they don't know enough to actually know what they're talking about. So Matt Brainerd here, he says the media will make a big deal about how much closer the Tennessee 7th District Special was than the presidential as some kind of referendum, but this is fundamentally dumb. Don't fall for it. And isn't that fascinating? The people who want to doom porn everywhere just so happen to wind up landing on the exact same talking points as literally CNN. I'm probably the only person who's going to explain the reality to you, and no media outlet is going to have me on, so you'll have to read it right here. In the 2024 congressional election, a strong, longtime incumbent ran with zero primary, Mark Green, and outspent the Democrat $2.2 million to $1.2 million. And there was no outside money involved on either side. So, strong, longtime incumbent, zero primary, so there's not even, he doesn't even have a Republican challenging him. He's unchallenged in the primary, and then almost doubles the spending for the Democrat. And with these local elections, spending is almost determinative. Whoever spends more almost always wins. No outside money, was not a national level election, just a local congressional election. He won by 21.5%. In the 2024 presidential election in this district, effectively zero money was spent by either presidential campaign, and Republicans were energized in a state they were always expected to win. So comparing the results in this special election a week after a holiday, right at the beginning of the holiday season, that the Democrats at the last minute tried to make a big national election and spent a ton of money on, comparing those two, the numbers here is apples and oranges. So you can't say, oh, well, the last time there was a congressional election here, the Republicans did 13 points better. But this is the sort of commentary you'll get from CNN and from people like Robert Barnes. In the 2025 special election, Republicans fought a brutal and very nasty primary, and the eventual winner, Van Epps, walked away with barely 50% of the vote. The Democrat raised a lot of money and had substantial outside investment and turnout in the urban parts of the district. This is evidenced by the largest swing being in the mostly black/Democrat county Davidson, which is Nashville's county, which Bain, the Democrat lady, won by 56 points. When both the Democrat and the Republican campaigns are fully funded and have strong outside support, this district is more competitive than when there is minimal spending here. But even with the Democrat getting full support, it's still an L for them. So in the general election, this money will instead go to more competitive districts, and Republican money will also go elsewhere, which means this is going to be a comfortable hold for Republicans. And actually, even like the New York Times and some of the major outlets shifted this from a slight Republican to a safe Republican seat after he won this special election. Now he's just going to be an incumbent. Republicans will be better united as time heals divisions from the primary, and the typical margin of victory will return. One factor here is that Democrat money does a better job turning their voters out than Republican money does turning our voters out. And that's a discussion for another day. So there is one takeaway you can get from this, that it reaffirms that Republicans have a smaller high propensity voter coalition than the Democrats do. So here's the how votes compare with Trump versus Harris, how votes cast in the 7th district compare with votes cast in the 2024 presidential election in the same area. So this is just each of the different counties. And you can see these are all like blue shifts from the 2024 election, but this is because Republicans are much more energized and they come out and vote in presidential election years, and particularly when Trump is on the ballot, which is a legitimate thing that has to be that does have to be addressed. And turnout is a thing that Republicans do need to focus on. Also, our great guy here, Latinx adjacent Dr. PhD at Tonerus Highest, he said other context for this: Tennessee doesn't allow for vote by mail, limited in-person window, and requires ID. So you're getting a real picture here of the Democrat coalition. Democrats did not gain anywhere at all except Nashville, and turnout is half what it was last year. Libshit white women are just mad. I'm sympathetic to the idea libshit old white ladies and single women can impact midterms more, but the reality is they are already 4 out of 4, meaning They've participated in 4 out of the last 4 elections, or infinity voters, and they just vote every time they can. Democrats have maxed them out. And it only works in specials. So this is what you're seeing here is this is like max overperformance for Democrats. The best that they can do is maybe have a strong Republican lead in a special election, off year, right after the holidays, when the Democrats pump a ton of money into it. This is them maxing out every last little bit of their high propensity coalition. But moderates, independents, low propensity, sort of generic voters are not getting jazzed about going and voting for Democrats. Oh, and then I also said, I would assume that a decent amount of that Nashville vote, because the Nashville was the only place that they gained. I said a decent amount of that Nashville vote is probably extremely online. Chicago, New York, LA, urban transplants, who are basically progressive millennial meme voters doing a heckin' hicklib. And he said, for sure, they're a cancer, but fortunately a small minority. And I said, I grew up in Seattle. They were basically all my peers until esoteric YouTube video essays and right-wing Twitter saved me. They're a particular brand of utterly insane and completely banal as long as there's someone to tell them no. So yeah, that was the special election. You probably see. Here's the thing: most people probably didn't even know anything about it, which is kind of the point. Even people who lived in the area didn't really know anything about it because it's this weird off-cycle special election right after the holidays. So Trump comes in at the last minute and says, "Hey, everybody, vote for Matt Van Epps." And so there's some people who are like, "Oh yeah, okay, I'll go vote for him." But turnout numbers were, they were like 30% of what the Republican or what the presidential turnout numbers were, something like that. They were way, way down. This one was just, this is the judiciary continuing to completely tank their own credibility and exasperate the Supreme Court. Obama judge Indira Talwani, Star Wars name, blocks President Trump's big beautiful bill from defunding Planned Parenthood across multiple states. So this is a district judge not blocking a presidential action. This is a judge blocking congressional legislation. Congress literally passed the big beautiful bill that defunds Planned Parenthood, and she said no. No, you can't. It's literally legislation. It's absolutely going to get overturned. But she looks exactly how you would expect. Not an American. Deport her. Don't just impeach her, deport her. Oh yeah, this here. In Minnesota, remember there was only one Democrat that voted to end health care for illegals in Tim Walz run Minnesota. Who was that? Melissa Hortman. She was murdered by Vance Bolter, who claimed that Walz also wanted him to kill Amy Klobuchar. So they had this vote about ending health care for illegals, and one Democrat voted for it. And then she got assassinated by a guy who worked for Tim Walz, who seemed like he was kind of nuts, but he also said that Tim Walz wanted to kill Amy Klobuchar. And there was an interesting tweet going around the last couple of days of someone speculating that Amy Klobuchar might be a kind of like a deep undercover white hat sort of, like she's quietly, secretly aligned with Trump. And they had an interesting kind of justification for it. I could see it, maybe. Wouldn't be shocked to find out. But yeah, I think the more that Minnesota gets unpacked, there has been some really, really dark shit going on in that beautiful state that my family hails from Minnesota. So it's a lot of these, I had Swedes and Norwegians moved over to Minnesota, and Alexandria. I've got tons and tons of family in Alexandria. So I hate seeing this. I hate seeing what's happened in Minnesota. We need to purge Democrats from Minnesota. Just in, Nicolas Maduro, caves to Donald Trump and resumes accepting illegal alien deportation flights from America. What do you know? I've been reliably informed that Trump is just nuking his own credibility and wasting time and money focused on foreign policy stuff instead of sticking to his domestic agenda. He's got all these ships down in Venezuela for no reason. Why isn't he focused on deporting people? Well, what do you know? These things are connected.
Today, Venezuela announcing it will now resume accepting deportation flights from the United States at President Trump's demand. This as the Pentagon continues to defend its strikes on alleged narco-terrorists at sea. Lucas Tomlinson is reporting. He's live here in Washington. Welcome back from Trinidad, Lucas. What's going on down south
Thanks,
today?
John. President Trump says he didn't know anything about that secondary strike on the alleged drug boat at the center of scrutiny right now in Washington. Trump gave his support to the mission and his War Secretary, Pete Hegseth, who said he didn't stick around after the initial strike because he had a meeting to attend.
I did not personally see survivors, but I stand because the thing was on fire. It was exploded and fire and smoke. You can't see anything. You got digital. This is called the fog of war.
The strike in question, September 2nd off the coast of Trinidad, the first...
I saw people reacting to that who were like, oh, he doesn't know that the fog of war is not literal fog. He doesn't understand it. John Doyle the other day said something that I gotta keep this in my back pocket and make sure I pull it out every so often. He said, on my deathbed, I'm not going to wish that I'd spent more time talking to retarded people. And I felt that one in my soul.
First of more than 20 over the past 3 months on alleged narco-terrorists. Those who initially survived that September 2nd strike were later killed in a follow-up attack. Republican Senator Rand Paul condemned the strike earlier today.
I frankly think it's absolutely illegal.
You dumb
Their
bitch.
latest explanation is they weren't blowing up the people, they were blowing up the boat. If those darn people just wouldn't cling to the wreckage, they would be...
Shut the fuck up, bitch.
Fine.
Hegseth says the order to strike the boat again was made by Navy SEAL Admiral Frank Bradley, who at the time was leading
that guy.
Joint Special Ops.
Who wants to second guess this dude's battlefield decisions?
Strike the boat again was made by Navy SEAL Admiral Frank Bradley, who at the time was leading Joint Special Operations
We're going to get back to
Command.
Rand in a minute.
General Keane says the follow-up strike was necessary.
In this case, the boat and the cargo needed to be destroyed and the terrorists eliminated. And given the fact the terrorists weren't eliminated, it's well within that commander's authority to finish and eliminate the mission that he was assigned.
Imagine trying to say that the president does not have the right to kill drug smugglers and pirates on the open seas. Like, just imagine trying to make that case. This is literally like a tradition that goes back to fucking Thomas Jefferson and the Barbary Pirates. From the very earliest establishment of the American government, and just generally speaking, legally for hundreds of years. Pirates do not have rights. If you're on the open seas engaged in piracy and smuggling and drug trafficking, you don't have rights. Anybody has any sovereign nation has the unilateral authority to kill you whenever they want for whatever reason.
Chuck Schumer says he wants the full video of that September 2nd strike released. Senator Tim Kaine just told our colleague Bill Maloogian lawmakers intend to file a war powers resolution this week to debate the issue of the U.S. potentially striking Venezuela. And Admiral Bradley will also be meeting lawmakers on the Hill tomorrow, John.
And of course, who's front and center in all of this but the most useless motherfucker in Congress, Rand Paul. We'll talk about him here in just a second. Before I get back to him, note this from the now notoriously named bald penis-looking nigger here, Mark Kelly. Let's flash back to September 28, 2021, talking to General McKenzie and General Kenneth McKenzie, the CENTCOM commander, about a drone strike that killed 10 innocent people, including 7 children, in Afghanistan.
Okay, well, thank you.
And I know you can't go into much detail about the analysis that led to the August 28th drone strike in Kabul in this open setting, but I would like to note my serious concerns and give you the opportunity to make any comment on how the American people can know that the military will be able to adequately assess targets before conducting future strikes and operations, even as we have even fewer local intelligence and surveillance resources to leverage.
Senator, again, the matter's under investigation, but what I can tell you broadly, and to restate some things I've said earlier, I am responsible for that. It happened in my area of responsibility, so I'm the responsible officer for that strike. Moreover, I was under no pressure, and no one in my chain of command below me was under any pressure to take that strike. We acted based on the intelligence read that we saw on the ground. We acted several times on intelligence that we saw, and we were successful in other occasions in preventing attacks. This time, tragically, we were wrong. And you're right to note that as we go forward and our ability to create what we call the ecosystem that allows you to see what's going on the ground and put all that together, it's going to get a lot harder to do that, particularly in places like Afghanistan. But I can share a little more with you later.
Well, thank you, General.
Thank you. This is the guy who now wants to very obviously launch a presidential campaign on the back of being very concerned about illegal military orders.
Punishable by death? Let me catch you up on Trump treason and Hexas DOD investigation into me. Last week, myself and 5 other members of Congress from the national security community put out a video addressing
the national security community. Isn't that like, everyone's just got a community now. Oh, we're just part of the national security community.
To our service members, reminding them that they are prohibited from following illegal orders according to the UCMJ. What a normal president would have responded with, if anything, is, of course. But not this president. Trump responded that we had committed treason.
Nematode.
Just in. It's Justine with just the tip if you let it slip, and that penis-looking nigger.
Thank you, Justine. Yeah, look at that penis-looking nigger.
And sedition, and our actions were punishable by death. As if that wasn't enough, I found out from a tweet Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth are launching a DOD investigation into me and considering
He's called the Department of War.
This is a blatant attempt to bully and silence me and the American people. But I'm not going to stop. I've served this country my entire adult life. As a midshipman at the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy, as a pilot flying off of an aircraft carrier, in combat, as a test pilot, and an astronaut, and now as a U.S. Senator. Trump and Hegseth have another thing coming if they think they can stop me from defending our freedoms, standing up for the military, and protecting the Constitution.
Isn't it just so incredibly shameless? It's so obvious what he's doing here. Like, why do you have this highly produced video from a sitting senator? He's running for president. He's running for president, and this is another example of Democrats all of a sudden being like, wait a second, let's have the white guy who muck constitutions all over the place run for president. Run for office in general. This is a thing that the Democrats are starting to do now. They're actually starting to run white guys, and they're trying to appeal to the constitutional conservative sentiment aesthetically. He's running, for sure. Now, Rand Paul just has a humiliation fetish or something, because he posted this. Look at that. 9,800 replies, 5,200 likes. Coast Guard records show that prior to the reign of blow them to smithereens, 21% of boats stopped off the coast of Venezuela possessed no drugs. You're telling me that 4 out of 5 boats stopped off the coast of Venezuela had drugs in them? 80% of boats stopped off the coast of Venezuela possess drugs. And now you're telling me that I need to be like really concerned about them just drone striking these boats and keeping them away from the border? Are you kidding me? Is Rand like a controlled opposition or something where he's just going to go out there and make such a complete ass of himself that you can't help but, like realize that he's an idiot? Just discredit the opposition or something? Because there was nobody around him apparently who could be like, hey, maybe you don't, like, this doesn't really send the message that you think it does. 21% of boats had no drugs. So you're saying that 80% of them did. So it means if you see a boat off the coast of Venezuela and you just unilaterally destroy it, 4 times out of 5, you just destroyed a drug trafficking boat. Those are pretty good odds. I'll take it. Super Balls Larry here, who I need to follow him. He's had a number of bangers lately. What does it say? Only muscle dorks allowed, premium conspiracy theories, and ultra MAGA content. Jesus is King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Sounds like a patriot to me. Go follow Super Balls Larry. He said, isn't it weird how every time the Dems/media settle on one of their gay little attacks on Trump, in this case killing cartel drug traffickers, Rand all of a sudden realizes that that's also the most important issue to him? Almost as if. That's a really good way of putting it. Isn't that funny? Rand doesn't care about anything. He doesn't talk about anything except for after the Democrats have decided they have some gay little attack that they're going to run on the president. And then all of a sudden he cares very, very much about that. Have you read To Kill a Mockingbird? All right, so let's talk about this former president of Honduras that Trump just pardoned. Joe Lange here says, if your focus on Trump's pardon for the president of Honduras is on drug trafficking, then you're missing the real story. Trump knows everything about what happened to Hernandez and why. Why would Trump say this? Quote, President Donald Trump said he will be pardoning former Honduran President Juan Orlando Hernandez on Friday. In 2024, Hernandez was convicted for drug trafficking and weapons charges and sentenced to 45 years in prison. The president explained his decision on social media by posting that, quote, according to many people that I greatly respect, he was treated very harshly and unfairly. In March of last year, Hernandez, who led the Central American nation from 2014 to 2022, was convicted in U.S. court of conspiring to import 400 tons of cocaine into the United States. He was extradited to the United States last week, just weeks after leaving office, when the current president, leftist Xiomara Castro, came to power. Trump said Hernandez was treated very harshly and unfairly. The Biden administration convicted him of trafficking 400 tons of cocaine into America. Trump is currently waging war against drug traffickers in Venezuela. Do you see the apparent contradiction in the coming media narrative? Why would Trump pardon a convicted drug trafficking leader of Honduras and wage war against a drug trafficking leader in Venezuela? Do you really think this story is about drug trafficking? Here's what most people are missing. The story isn't about drug trafficking. It's about human trafficking. Guess who was helping Trump stop the flow of illegal immigration through Central America? Quoting, under the Trump administration, American officials hailed Hernandez as a trusted partner on sensitive issues, including counterterrorism and anti-narcotics efforts. Perhaps most significant was Hernandez's willingness to help Trump curb immigration, especially from Honduras, from which a succession of highly publicized migrant caravans had set out toward the U.S. Hernandez wasn't just helping with anti-drug efforts, he was also helping to stop the Soros-funded caravans making their way to our southern border from Central America. Nevertheless, Hernandez signed a safe third country agreement, which allowed immigrants who arrived at the U.S.'s southern border seeking asylum to be sent instead to Honduras to file claims there. Hernandez was one of the first leaders to willingly take the deported illegals captured at the southern border. Do you think the Biden administration supported him? A senior Biden official told me that the administration intended to work around Hernandez by engaging with other levels of the Honduran government and would avoid sending officials to visit while he remained in office. Do you remember who Biden put in charge of the border crisis? Soon after taking office, Biden handed the Central America portfolio to, drumroll, Kamala Harris. The new vice president had little experience with international diplomacy and no special expertise in Latin America. Guess who pushed for the prosecution of Hernandez in order to remove him? In January of 2021, a few days after Kamala Harris was sworn in as vice president, she was briefed about the allegations against President Hernandez. An official who was present said that Harris, a former prosecutor, had an immediate response. Let's go get him now. The administration defined Central America as a priority early on, not least because of the way that Trump had weaponized concerns about immigration. The Biden administration was encouraging caravans of illegals from Central America from the very beginning. Why? It's a chronic emergency with growing political ramifications. The senior Biden official told me, the thing is, these countries have the ability to change the outcome of the next U.S. elections. If we can change things just a little bit for the better, we'll have done a lot. Illegal votes. These are his daughters right here. I can tell already that we're going to need some bonks in the chat. Was there anything else in this? I'm trying to remember. He'd served 2 terms as the leader of the Central American nation of roughly 10 million people. He has been appealing his conviction and serving time at the U.S. Penitentiary, Hazleton, in West Virginia. Shortly after Trump's announcement, Hernandez's wife and 2 daughters gathered on the steps of their home in Tegucigalpa and kneeled in prayer, thanking God that Hernandez would return to their family after almost 4 years apart. That's a great picture of Trump. That is Hernandez there. And then Trump said if Tito Asfuro wins for president of Honduras, because the United States has so much confidence in him, his policies, and what he will do for the great people of Honduras, we will be very supportive. If he doesn't win, the United States will not be throwing good money after bad, because a wrong leader can only bring catastrophic results to a country, no matter which country it is. Tito will be a great president, and the United States will work closely with him to ensure the success with all of its potential of Honduras. Additionally, I will be granting a full and complete pardon to former President Juan Orlando Hernandez, who has been, according to many people that I greatly respect, treated very harshly and unfairly. This cannot be allowed to happen, especially now after Tito Asfuro wins the election, when Honduras will be on its way to great political and financial success.
Gigabeaner activated. Trump is poaching the low-hanging talent to isolate the backroom guys. Soon they won't have any good shields to hide behind. I hope they are doing this clandestinely in South Asia and get Giga Chinks and Giga Jungle Gooks. Ooga booga.
Giga Chinks and Giga Jungle Gooks. And the Giga Beaner has been activated. Yes, thank you, Hernandez. That is exactly it. Trump is poaching the low-hanging talent to isolate the backroom guys. More on this in just a moment. Thank you, Hernandez. Vote for Tito Asfuro for president. Congratulations to Juan Orlando Hernandez on your upcoming pardon. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Make Honduras great again. So let's see here. I don't think that there was anything else in here. A great injustice has been righted, and we're so hopeful for the future partnership of the United States and Honduras, said his lawyer, Renato Stabile. There's his wife and daughters. Let's see. Trump had endorsed Asfuro earlier, but these latest comments went further, apparently conditioning future aid to Honduras on his victory. Asfuro, 67, is making his second run for president for the Conservative National Party. He was mayor of Tegucigalpa and has pledged to solve Honduras' infrastructure needs, but he has previously been accused of embezzling public funds, allegations that he denies. In addition to Asfuro, there are 2 other likely contenders for Honduras' presidency. I'm assuming this is Rixi. I think R-I-X-I would be like Rixi Moncada, who served as the finance and later defense secretary before leaving to run for president for the incumbent Democratic Socialist Libre Party, and Salvador Nasrallah, a former television personality who's making his 4th bid for the presidency, this time as the candidate for the Liberal Party. And last I saw, they say that they're statistically tied between Nasrallah and Asfuro. And we'll see if there's funny business there. Trump on Friday accused Nasrallah, 72, of running as a spoiler candidate to draw votes away from Asfuro. And my little source down in Honduras, who's been DMing me about this stuff, let me know that that's the general perception down there as well, that Nasrallah here is a spoiler. Noting that Nasrallah served as Castro's vice president before resigning. So Xiomara Castro, the current president, the outgoing president, Nasrallah was the vice president and then resigned to run here. Trump said he is now pretending to be an anti-communist only for the purposes of splitting Asfuro's vote. Trump also bashed Moncada, the political heir to Castro, as a communist, and said her victory would be a win for Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro and his narco-terrorists. Let's see here. Outgoing Honduran President Xiomara Castro has leaned into a leftist stance, but she's kept a pragmatic and even cooperative attitude in dealing with U.S. administration, and has received visits from Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem and U.S. Army General Laura Richardson when she was commander of U.S. Southern Command. Under Castro, Honduras has also received its citizens deported from the U.S. and acted as a bridge for deported Venezuelans, who were then picked up by Venezuela in Honduras. Former U.S. President Joe Biden's Attorney General Merrick Garland said after Hernandez's sentencing last year that he had, quote, abused his power to support one of the largest and most violent drug trafficking conspiracies in the world. So that is, I think I had one other one here. From, I don't know who this is, Laura Aboli Official. This is a good summary of a lot of the stuff that I read about this elsewhere as well. Why Trump just pardoned JOH, the evidence nobody mentions. If people want to understand why Trump just pardoned Juan Orlando Hernandez, they only need to look at one thing that nobody in the mainstream is mentioning, the extradition record. Because for all the labels thrown at him after 2021, narco president, criminal, kingpin in a suit, the undeniable fact is that during his presidency, Honduras delivered more high-level traffickers to the United States than at any other time in its modern history. And he did it precisely in the years when the Trump administration was trying to break the logistical backbone of the cartels and the intelligence networks that protected them. Between 2014 and 2021, while JOH was in office, Honduras extradited 27 nationals to the United States, including the heads of the most powerful trafficking structures in the country. The Vale Vale clan, Don H., the Montez Bobadilla family, and a long list of regional operators who had controlled key corridors for decades. These were men who moved tens of thousands of kilos of cocaine through a narco-state architecture built long before JOH took office, and their removal destabilized the very systems the CIA had quietly relied on since the 1980s for covert revenue, covert logistics, and deniable routes across the Caribbean basin. You can see a trend here that very clearly the Trump administration is going to war with the CIA, essentially. During 2017 to 2019, the center of Trump's first term, was exactly when the most sensitive extraditions took place. Noe Montez Bobadilla, one of the main suppliers feeding U.S. markets through the Eastern Caribbean corridor, was sent to the U.S. in 2017. Roberto de Jesus Soto, linked to major airbridge operations, followed the same year. The Vale Vale clan was already dismantled. Don H., accused of protecting routes used by the Sinaloa network, had already been handed over. One by one, the pillars of the old trafficking system, the same system that had been intertwined with U.S. intelligence operations since Iran-Contra, were removed from Honduran soil under Hernandez's watch. This is the part the media will never touch because it forces a collision with an uncomfortable truth. If JOH were genuinely a cartel president, aligned with the flows and the protectors behind those flows, he would never have dismantled their infrastructure by extraditing the very men who guaranteed continuity. You do not hand over the traffickers that pay you. You hand over the traffickers who threaten the alliance you have chosen. And the alliance he chose, whether for strategy, survival, or conviction, was with Trump's Justice Department, not with the intelligence networks that had treated Honduras as a permanent staging ground for 40 years. This does not mean JOH was a saint. It simply means the narrative was inverted the moment Biden came to power. The same U.S. agencies that cooperated with him during Trump's term suddenly portrayed him as the mastermind of a narco state, relying almost entirely on testimony from the very traffickers he extradited. The extradition record tells a story the headlines never will. That JOH was not protecting the cartels, he was destabilizing them in a region where destabilizing the cartels also means stepping on the CIA's historical supply lines, political assets, and covert relationships. The moment JOH sided with Trump's war on the cartels, it became useless and dangerous to the people who had run Central America in the shadows for decades. And the moment Trump returned, he did what Washington never expected anyone to do. He vindicated the one president in Central America who actually broke their networks instead of serving them. And here's the list of all the Hondurans involved in the narco trade who were extradited to the United States under President Juan Orlando Hernandez between 2014 and 2021. Chancleta. A whole bunch of them. El Compa. Mr. Sue says CIA, aka City of London. I mean, I would say CIA. Like, I think these are still, it's still, like, not everything has to be collapsed into the City of London. The CIA is still its own entity that has its own priorities, but it obviously is deeply intertwined with the city of London and with Mossad and with the cartels. And like each of these, it's worthwhile to think of them as separate entities that have a lot of alignment. Now here I've done a few things now talking about this story that Emerald Robinson is reporting about the connection between Venezuela and Smartmatic and Maduro and all of this. This guy here, Johnny St. Pete, says when you wake up in the morning and find that POTUS reposted you on Truth Social, and it has to do with Elon Musk helping save the election. So Trump posted a screenshot with a link to the tweet here. Bombshell video, Elon Musk might have saved the 2024 election from being stolen. Benny Johnson tells the story of how Musk knew that they would win the election, and it appears is because they identified the overseas systems and machines that were going to perpetrate what we saw in 2020. Now we know why Trump is raging at Venezuela. Apparently we weren't crazy. Musk tracked down the IP addresses of the Dominion office in Serbia and rendered their computers useless days before the election. Years prior in 2020, the chairman of Smartmatic's holding company, SGO, was Mark Malloch Brown. He resigned in 2020. Guess where his next job was in January of 2021? The president of the Open Society Foundation. So he went from the chairman of Smartmatic's holding company to the president of George Soros' foundation. George Soros, being the number one donor to the Democrats and the DNC, his right-hand man, was the head of an electronic voting company called Smartmatic, and those Dominion machines may have been running Smartmatic software. According to Emerald Robinson, General Flynn flew out to meet with the Venezuela whistleblowers. Anyone else think it's odd that the Democrats are worried so relentlessly about Venezuela? Were they? And the globalists running operations out of there. So Trump is now explicitly signal boosting this story. Explicitly saying, like, him signal boosting this to me says that this story is true. Or at least substantial elements of it are. I haven't seen Elon engage with it just yet, but Trump is at least giving his stamp of approval to the people talking about this story, so I think it's worth taking seriously. Now this guy here, here's a we gotta put our schizo hat on here for a minute. We got Ghost Ezra Q. Where my Q boys at? Superior B still here? Or did he take off? It's getting kind of late, I know. He's probably gone. Hopefully he's listening later on. Remember back in 2008 when Obama came out of nowhere and smoked Hillary in Iowa? Everyone was like, grassroots magic, hope and change, blah, blah. Meanwhile, Hugo Chavez was laughing his ass off in Miraflores Palace because his Smartmatic boys had already dialed in the exact margin from a basement in Caracas. Whistleblowers, actual ex-Smartmatic engineers, are in federal custody right now, spilling everything. Same Venezuelan code base that got exposed when Maduro tried to steal his own election last year. Same servers, same back doors. They didn't invent this rig in 2020, bro. They beta tested it in 2008, and we all clapped like trained seals. I mean, speak for yourself, bro. Think about the timeline. Chavez dies in 2013, Maduro takes over, keeps the machine humming. Dominion gets the tech legally through shell companies and cutouts, and suddenly every swing state in America is running Caracas 2.0. And the media, they buried anyone who asked questions under the conspiracy theorist label for a decade and a half. The fact that U.S. military assets are parked off of Venezuela's coast right now, birds grounded, comms dark, and these indictments just cracked open at the exact same moment, that's not coincidence, that's sequencing. This is the domino that knocks down the whole damn wall. Obama's origin story just got rewritten by a couple Venezuelan coders.
Trump is gonna win by flipping South Americans. Make their countries not shitholes and all of a sudden they don't want to come here anymore. They're heirs to the Roman road, though Agartha is always closed to them. The CIA used them to gain power, now we do.
Ooh, I like that framing. From Bale Bale KK Clan. The CIA used them to gain power, and now we're going to do it. Indeed. See, that's one great way to ensure that shithole countries don't send their people to make your country a shithole country, is you help them make their countries not be shithole countries. Yeah, they're close to Agartha. Obama's origin story just got rewritten by a couple Venezuelan coders who decided singing was better than disappearing. In 2020, the U.S. got played by the same script they perfected when most of us were still rocking flip phones and thinking politics is boring. The receipts are finally here, sealed and delivered. This one goes all the way back to the jump. What Emerald Robinson said is the communist dictator of Venezuela, Hugo Chavez, rigged the 2008 Iowa Democratic presidential caucuses on January 3, 2008 for Barack Obama, according to whistleblower testimony from ex-Smartmatic employees now in federal custody. And like, if this, to this point now, it seems as if Emerald Robinson's sources are very good. If Trump is now endorsing the narrative that she's passing off here, I suspect that she's not bullshitting. This stuff's actually true. So if they're going live with all of this at the moment that they've got a third of all naval assets in the Caribbean right at the doorstep of Venezuela, and Tulsi Gabbard just sent a referral for prosecution of Barack Obama over to the DOJ, I find it really improbable that Barack Obama gets arrested. I think it's much more, I think politically it would be much more prudent to pardon him, like dare him to accept that pardon. But I'm just going to say, it sure seems like there's some happenings that are stirring here. And this is totally uncharted waters. I'm not going to make any predictions because I think this is completely the land of uncharted waters. But there's more. But wait, there's more. From Mike Flynn himself, massive breaking news. All Americans must grasp the gravity of this moment and what this deposition-like letter below means for the future of our republic. It is that severe of a warning. We cannot allow China or Russia or major international Islamic terrorist networks to own beachfront property off of our southern border. Trump's actions to date have been sound, but given this new information, our POTUS must do some new soul-searching with key members of his team. This blockbuster op-ed comes from a career spy at the top of the Venezuelan regime, where he served as the former head of military intelligence and in the National Assembly for nearly a decade. This is General Hugo Carvajal Barrios. In it, he describes how U.S. diplomats and CIA officers were paid to assist Chavez and Maduro to remain in power. He also describes how the election software Smartmatic, developed in Venezuela, is used to alter elections. I've just got to say, it's incredibly gratifying to see this stuff starting to bear out in public. Like, even we're beyond the point where like anything that happens from here is gravy to me. I was deep in the trenches 6 years ago, watching this leaking out in like the QAnon world and looking at it and being like, there sure seems to be a lot to this. That, like, you could call it crazy or tinfoil hat or whatever all you want, but as I look at all this, I can't help but acknowledge there seems to be something to this story. So to now see it really starting to break out and be seemingly fully legit is very, very gratifying. This technology was later exported abroad, including to the United States. This letter is a strategic warning from a man who spent decades inside the command structure of a hostile foreign power. Carvajal confirms what many of us have stated repeatedly. The Maduro regime functions as a fully integrated narco-terrorist apparatus, conducting an unconventional campaign inside of and against the United States of America. He details how Venezuela weaponized cocaine in coordinated operations with FARC, ELN, Cuban intelligence, and Hezbollah. How it built and exported violent criminal networks like Tren de Aragua into the United States, how its intelligence services infiltrated American institutions for more than 20 years, and how Smartmatic was developed to, quote, keep the regime in power forever. Carvajal now states that President Trump's policies were acts of essential national defense and that he's prepared to provide further classified details. We as Americans must demand more transparency about the role of rogue deep state elements, yada, yada, yada. Okay. So here is what he's talking about. It's from the Dallas Express. Exclusive. Former Maduro spy chief's letter to Trump seeks to expose narco-terrorist war against the U.S. The Dallas Express, let me zoom this in a little. Is that, can I not like, there we go. The Dallas Express has obtained an explosive letter addressed to President Donald Trump from Hugo Carvajal Barrios, the former director of military intelligence for Venezuela and once one of the most powerful figures inside the governments of Hugo Chavez and Nicolas Maduro. The letter, shared exclusively with DX by Carvajal's attorney, Robert Feitel, a former senior Justice Department prosecutor, marks the first time the retired Major General has put these warnings on the record since pleading guilty earlier this year in a U.S. federal narcoterrorism case. Carvajal, extradited from Spain after a lengthy international manhunt, says he is writing to atone and to alert Americans to what he describes as a coordinated state-directed campaign targeting the United States. Already covered all of this. He asserts Venezuelan and Cuban intelligence infiltrated U.S. institutions for 2 decades, including military installations. He claims Smartmatic was developed inside Venezuela as an election manipulation tool later deployed abroad. Carvajal, widely known by his nickname El Pollo, spent years inside the top tiers of Venezuela's security apparatus and dealt directly with the senior leadership of both Hugo Chavez and Nicolas Maduro. Earlier this year, he pleaded guilty in federal court to charges stemming from a conspiracy that moved cocaine into the United States and provided support to Colombia's FARC guerrillas. Prosecutors say at the center of the so-called Cartel de los Soles, a network of Venezuelan military officials accused of weaponizing cocaine and the drug trade against Americans. That's a incomplete sentence. Okay. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, speaking Thursday on Hannity, issued one of the strongest statements yet. Quote, "The Maduro regime is not a legitimate government. What it is a transshipment organization allowing cocaine and other drugs to move through Venezuela on airplanes and ships headed toward the United States." End quote. The U.S. State Department currently maintains a $50 million reward for information leading to Maduro's arrest, a figure publicly announced by U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi earlier this year. The following letter reflects Carvajal's statements and claims. The Dallas Express has not independently verified all of the underlying allegations. So below is the full text of the letters. They've got the actual scanned document here. And then here's the text of it. Letter from Hugo Carvajal Barrios to President Donald J. Trump. Dear Mr. President Trump and the people of the United States, my name is Hugo Carvajal Barrios. For many years, I was a high-ranking member of the Venezuelan regime. I was a 3-star general trusted by both Hugo Chavez and Nicolas Maduro, and served as director of military intelligence and a deputy in the National Assembly. Today, I sit in an American prison because I voluntarily pled guilty to the crimes charged against me, a narco-terrorism conspiracy. I write to atone by telling the full truth so that the United States can protect itself from the dangers I witnessed for so many years. I publicly broke with the Maduro regime in 2017 and fled my country, knowing that I faced criminal charges in the United States. In doing so, I became their enemy. Knowing the risks, I acted with the strongest conviction to dismantle Maduro's criminal regime and bring freedom to my country. Today, I see the need to address the American people about the reality of what the Venezuelan regime truly is, and why President Trump's policies are not only correct, but absolutely necessary to the United States national security. And I'll just pause to say here that I think I'm well aware that there's just as likely, like this is easily could be some sort of psyop itself. Yeah, I'm not just assuming that this guy is 100% honest and is just bearing his soul because he's had a change of heart or whatever. Yeah, I'm too cynical to just believe that without question. But even if I accept, okay, this is some other sort of psyop, well, what is this psyop directed toward? You know, now all of a sudden we've got the CIA is telling us that President Trump's policies are not only correct, but absolutely necessary to the United States national security? All right, well, let me see what you got then, if that's the angle you want to take on it. First, narcoterrorism. I personally witnessed how Hugo Chavez's government became a criminal organization that is now run by Nicolas Maduro, Diosdado Cabello, and other senior regime officials. The purpose of this organization, now known as the Cartel of the Suns, is to weaponize drugs against the United States. The drugs that reached your cities through new routes were not accidents of corruption, nor just the work of independent traffickers. They were deliberate policies coordinated by the Venezuelan regime against the United States. The plan was suggested by the Cuban regime to Chavez in the mid-2000s and has been successfully executed with help from FARC, ELN, Cuban operatives, and Hezbollah. The regime has provided weapons, passports, and impunity for these terrorist organizations to operate freely from Venezuela against the United States. Number 2, Tren de Aragua. I was present when decisions were made to organize and weaponize criminal gangs across Venezuela to protect the regime, among them the group known as Tren de Aragua. Chavez ordered the recruitment of criminal leaders inside and outside prisons to defend the revolution in exchange for impunity. After Chavez died, Maduro expanded the strategy by exporting criminality and chaos abroad to target Venezuelan political exiles and artificially reduce crime statistics within Venezuela. Gang leaders were instructed to send thousands of members out of the country. This was coordinated through the Ministry of Interior, the Ministry of Prisons, the National Guard, and National Police Forces. Tren de Aragua became the most effective and fastest growing. When the Biden-Harris open border policy became widely known, they seized the opportunity to send these operatives into the United States. They now have obedient, armed personnel on American soil. To finance their operations, they were explicitly instructed to continue kidnapping, extorting, and killing. Every crime they commit on your soil is an act ordered by the regime. Number 3, counterintelligence and espionage against the United States. I was present when Russian intelligence came to Caracas to propose to Hugo Chavez the tapping of submarine internet cables that connect most of South America. Bale KKK
Everything
clan.
is a psyop. If it increases white guys and decreases browns, then it's good. If it increases brown guys and decreases white guys, it's bad. If
So
it
true.
increases both, it's okay. If it decreases both, it's satanic. Trendy Aragua is a lib fad, right? HH.
Trendy our agua. Yes, please do trendy our agua. So true. Dance, dance, KK clan. Okay, so the tapping of submarine internet cables that connect most of South America and the Caribbean islands with the United States for the purpose of penetrating United States government communications. So here is one potential, if I'm thinking of this as what sort of, how could this be a psyop by our enemies to subvert the Trump administration? Well, maybe this is like some deep thing to actually stick this with Russia to disrupt the peace negotiations and prevent Russia and the United States from being able to begin like reintegrating operations together. Maybe that's an angle. I don't know. In 2015, I warned Maduro that allowing Russian intelligence to build and run a secret listening post on La Orchila Island would one day invite American bombs. He ignored me. For 20 years, the Venezuelan regime sent spies into your country. Many are still there, some disguised as members of the Venezuelan opposition. Cuban intelligence showed me their networks inside your naval bases on the East Coast. They bragged about having sent thousands of spies over decades, some now career politicians. U.S. diplomats and CIA officers were paid to assist Chavez and Maduro in remaining in power. These Americans acted as spies for Cuba and Venezuela, and some remain active to this day. So then here's where I'm like, okay, so if on one hand, this is like some sort of subversive plot by the City of London / CIA / Mossad / MI6 / whatever, here is perfidious Albion and their puppet Jewish state subverting America for the sake of their hatred of the white man, then, well, they're also airing out the fact there's a confirmation here that there are U.S. diplomats and CIA officers who were paid to cooperate with all of this. So, okay, if this is what the new PSYOPs look like, then this is a fascinating new element of American history, I suppose. Number 4, Smartmatic in your elections. Smartmatic was born as an electoral tool of the Venezuelan regime, but soon derived into a tool to help keep the regime stay in power forever. I know this because I placed the head of IT at the National Electoral Council in his position, and he reported directly to me. The Smartmatic system can be altered. This is a fact. This technology was later exported abroad, including to the United States. Regime operatives maintain relationships with election officials and voting machine companies inside your country. I do not claim that every election is stolen, but I state with certainty that elections can be rigged with the software and has been used to do so. People of the United States, make no mistake about the threat posed by allowing a narco-terrorist organization to roam freely in the Caribbean and throughout Latin America, doing everything possible to harm the American people, to finance anti-Americanism across the continent, and to facilitate the operations of other terrorist organizations and enemies of the United States within Venezuela and now within your borders. The regime I served is not merely hostile, it is at war with you, using drugs, gangs, espionage, and even your own democratic processes as weapons. President Trump's policies against the Maduro criminal regime are not just justified, but necessary and proportionate to the threat. He may even be underestimating what the regime is prepared to do to hold on to power. They have contingency plans for every extreme scenario to ensure they never relinquish control. I absolutely support President Trump's policy towards Venezuela because it is in self-defense and he is acting based on the truth. I remain ready to provide additional details about these matters to the United States government. Signed, Hugo Carvajal Barrios, United States of America, December 2, 2025. What comes next? Carvajal writes that he is prepared to provide additional details to U.S. authorities in any format, including classified briefings. Justine!
This is our setup to get us to penetrate their deep areas instead. We must punish the traitors in our midst, and even if we say it's because of Venezuela, we will know it's Venezuelans. Do not trust anyone who keeps secrets.
That was, for those of you who couldn't see the message there, that was, even if we say it's because of Venezuela, we will know it's Venezuelans. With the magical brackets. So true. I don't care what the motivations are. I don't care what cover story you have to tell me. Just do it. If federal prosecutors deem his cooperation substantial assistance, it could reduce his sentencing exposure. If corroborated, his information could reshape U.S. policy in Venezuela, strengthen ongoing narcoterrorism prosecutions, and shed new light on alleged foreign intelligence operations in the Western Hemisphere. As the Trump administration increases pressure on Maduro and conducts strikes against suspecting trafficking assets, Carvajal's letter marks an extraordinary moment. A former regime insider openly appealing to an American president, he now argues is confronting a criminal state. Congressional leaders, South American governments, and U.S. intelligence agencies are all expected to monitor the fallout closely. So, I mean, like, what sort of trade are we getting here? Maybe this is because, you got the Hezbollah mentioned in there. So we're doing something for Israel, and maybe it's to disrupt negotiations with Russia. And so in return, we get a full justification of Trump's policies with respect to Venezuela, a full justification for even more crackdowns on narco-terrorists, and the public release and then policy addressing of the problem of elections being rigged by voting machines. And the cooperation of the Democrat Party and CIA officials and election voting machine companies in that. Like, this is what we get. This is our trade-off. I mean, okay, maybe that's a trade-off worth taking. Okay, one other very interesting pardon that Trump just made is this one. Henry Cuellar, a Democrat from Texas. He says, for years, the Biden administration weaponized the justice system against their political opponents and anyone who disagreed with them. One of the clearest examples of this was when Crooked Joe used the FBI and DOJ to take out a member of his own party, after highly respected Congressman Henry Cuellar bravely spoke out against open borders and the Biden border catastrophe. Sleepy Joe went after the congressman, and even the congressman's wonderful wife Imelda, simply for speaking the truth. It is un-American, and as I previously stated, the radical left Democrats are a complete and total threat to democracy. They will attack, rob, lie, cheat, destroy, and decimate anyone who dares to oppose their far-left agenda, an agenda that, if left unchecked, will obliterate our magnificent country. Because of these facts and others, I am hereby announcing my full and unconditional pardon of beloved Texas Congressman Henry Cuellar and Imelda. Henry, I don't know you, but you can sleep well tonight. Your nightmare is finally over. So this is an interesting move. A Democratic congressman pardoned. Early vote data here on Twitter says, is Cuellar going to change parties or do an independent run that caucuses with Republicans? Got to be some behind-the-scenes exchange for this, I would think. That's a House seat Republicans will need for 2026 and beyond. So they pardoned the guy. He seems extremely grateful to be pardoned for this. So is he either going to flip parties, or are you now going to get a like an independent sort of swing vote here to erode the Because you got the Democrats who are doing everything they can to try to game every possible aspect of the system to pick up as many seats as they possibly can. You've got Marjorie Taylor Greene, who resigns 2 days after her lifetime pension kicks in, by the way. What a great sacrifice she's making. She's resigning on principle, but she waits until her she didn't resign before that pension was going to kick in. She got to make sure she gets that pension before she nobly resigns on principle. But what that means is that now that I think now that we have the special election that Matt Van Epps won, then I think that puts it back to I think for a minute there was the possibility that Thomas Massie, I need to go back and look at the numbers, but there was a possibility that Thomas Massie would basically be the one vote majority for the Republicans. So Marjorie Taylor Greene resigning essentially put Thomas Massie in control of the House. But I think with Matt Van Epps winning this special election, it might have moved it back again. I need to look and see. But either way, picking up a Republican vote out of a former Democrat because you pardoned him would be quite clever operating, I think. And Shipwrecked Crew here said, is he the 218th vote in the next race for Speaker? Wouldn't that be interesting? Now all of a sudden you've got a Democrat, but he is a vote that you bank for the next Speaker race. Very interesting maneuverings that are happening here. And it seems as if these are all connected in some sort of way. Okay, so I wanted to remind you, I'm going to play a video I'm going to play a video for you guys of Susan Kokenda, one of our MAGA grandmas, talking about the negotiations happening with Russia and Ukraine. But before I do that, I just wanted to play this video for you again, because I think it's worth remembering that this is the stated on the record position of the Trump administration. And shout out to the great not Kirill, it's Kirill Dmitriev, one of the negotiators, the special presidential envoy for, I think he's the head of the Direct Investment Fund. Yeah, CEO of the Russian Direct Investment Fund, special envoy of the president of Russia for investment and economic cooperation. And he's been doing a lot of the negotiations with Witkoff and Kushner. He posted this, J.D. Vance, back at the Munich Security Conference in February.
But while the Trump administration is very concerned with European security and believes that we can come to a reasonable settlement between Russia and Ukraine, and we also believe that it's important in the coming years for Europe to step up in a big way to provide for its own defense, the threat that I worry the most about vis-a-vis Europe is not Russia, it's not China, it's not any other external actor. And what I worry about is the threat from within. The retreat of Europe from some of its most fundamental values shared with the United States of America.
The greatest threat to Europe is the threat from within. And now they've basically sidelined Europe in these negotiations. So here is Susan Kokenda. 3 nuclear superpowers just met in Moscow, and the British Empire is in full panic mode. Trump's envoy, plus Putin, plus China's foreign minister, equals the end of 300 years of imperial control. This is the geopolitical earthquake they don't want you to see. We're going to watch this video, and then I've got something about the absolutely insane, completely bonkers Meghan Markle.
Something unprecedented just happened in Moscow. Yesterday, Trump's envoy, Steve Witkoff, met with Vladimir Putin, while Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi met with his Russian counterpart. 3 nuclear superpowers converged in overlapping meetings, and London is in absolute panic mode because these 3 nations together have the power to end British imperial control once and for all, and Donald Trump knows it. Not only is he building new alliances with the other superpowers, he's targeting the very lifeblood of the British Empire, drug money flows. But that's not what you'll hear from the mainstream media or from all too many influencers in MAGA world who are still drinking Britain's geopolitical poison that says Russia or China or both will forever be our adversaries, and that we must tie ourselves forever to NATO and Europe and Ukraine and the US-UK special relationship. While that's what they're still peddling to try to disorient the MAGA movement, the Anglo-American elites themselves know better. They know that the world is shifting away from them. And the establishment's Wall Street Journal has recently been sounding the alarm, as these two headlines show. The first one says, Trump's push to end the Ukraine war is sowing fresh fear about NATO's future. And the second one, Europe fears it can't catch up in great power competition. Now, RT gleefully covered that second Wall Street Journal article, highlighting the point with this quote: US, Russia, and China enhance their economic, technological, and military dominance while Europe stays behind. I'm Susan Kokinda, and since the 1970s, I've looked at how the British game masters have played the modern version of their imperial great game, keeping the superpowers pitted against each other in perpetual conflict. All the while, the global elites continue their control over the world and over nations' economies.
Imagine being her and being focused on this issue for 50 years. I turned 37 tomorrow. I'm not even close to 50 years of being alive. And she's been hammering away at this issue for 50 years. And now she finally gets to see this stuff coming to fruition. I can't even imagine how good it must feel to Susan Kokinda to wake up every day and realize this is the world that she's living in.
And I've documented how the second Trump presidency is challenging that in unprecedented ways. So if this is...
Justine!
Is the administration saying it will destroy Europe from within if it doesn't do what it wants? That's what a skinny Vance was saying, wasn't it? The admin is gonna release a gigafag to eat them out from their foul foundations. He's well practiced.
Yes! Oh, yes, he is. I'm gonna have some gigafag clips on tomorrow's show, I think. I saw some of them coming through earlier, and the man is on one. Yeah, Europe's gonna get destroyed from within if they don't fall in line. They're gonna be allowed to destroy themselves, essentially. And this is one of the reasons why we may not want necessarily to have a complete and total immigration moratorium, because there's probably some real good people who are in Europe who may need a new place to live, and we will happily embrace them under certain terms.
This is your kind of fight. Please hit the like and share buttons and subscribe to our channel. This is what I'll cover today. First, how Trump's world of sovereign nations is emerging and why the British and the Europeans are still threatening war to stop it. Second, that the target in Venezuela is dirty money flows, not just drugs and not just Maduro. And third, how Trump's...
Operation Paperclip 2.0. We got any Nazi scientists in Europe still? Any of you guys left over? You're more than welcome.
Cabinet meeting shows the economic alternative. So was it coincidence that Trump's team of Witkoff and Kushner were in Moscow at the same time as China's Wang Yi? Whatever it was, the strategic optics are striking, and they reflect the new reality in the world. Think about what this represents. Since the end of World War II, British imperial strategy has depended on one fundamental principle: keep the superpowers fighting each other. The Cold War, Russia-China tensions, the US versus Red China. As long as the geopoliticians can use the United States as their dumb giant, acting in their interests, not in ours, they could keep it up. Well, Marco Rubio made clear yesterday in the cabinet meeting that that world is over.
It's also an honor to be involved in and be a witness to what I believe is the most transformational year in American foreign policy since the end of the Second World War, at least. And it's transformational because for the first time in a long time, we have a president who basically puts America at the forefront of every decision we make in our relations with the world. And that may sound weird to people, like, of course you always do. No, that hasn't always been the case until about a year ago. And I think we've all witnessed in our own respective spaces how in every interaction the president has with the world, the goal he has in mind is very simple. Does what you want us to do, or is it what we're going, or is it going to make us stronger? Is it going to make us richer? Is it going to make us safer? If it is, he's for it. If it's not, he's against it.
That's why Trump's approach to Russia and China is completely different than what has come before. Trump treats Russia as a nation with legitimate concerns, and that's why the Ukraine negotiations are actually moving forward. Similarly with China, last week's Trump-Xi phone discussion and the upcoming summits represent something the British establishment fears more than anything: direct dialogue between sovereign nations outside of their rules-based liberal free trade order. Their great game isn't working anymore, and Europe and Britain are being left out in the cold and are becoming irrelevant. Their response? Try to sabotage the peace process to continue and escalate the war. At a recent Council on Foreign Relations webinar on Ukraine, Liana Fix, their senior fellow on Europe, who, big surprise, studied at the London School of Economics, laid out what she called the playbook to sabotage the peace negotiations. And then she said,
something will build up that resembles actual pressure on Russia, and perhaps over the course of the next year will make Russia's position worse, so that they're not so confident that they can get the upper hand and come through with maximalist demands in the negotiation process. I think that's a European game plan. It does not really include the hope that a fair solution in negotiations might be found. From their perspective, this is more or less just performative politics that they have to push back against, that they have to adapt, and then to try to focus on what is really important, which is to keep Ukraine in the fight and to make sure that Russia's position worsens over time.
But it goes.
She's obviously dark.
We're going to kill them. They're going to be like dead.
Goes beyond keeping the Ukrainians fighting. The head of NATO's military committee, Admiral Dragon, took it to another level when he said NATO was considering preemptive action against Russia. And retired British General Sir Richard Sheriff, a former top NATO commander who says that Trump is under Putin's influence, declared that war with Russia is inevitable. But here's the reality that these warmongers don't want to face. They have as few cards left to play as does Zelensky. Zelensky has been boxed in by U.S.-directed corruption scandals, and the
That chick does say please. That's true. Now I need to see JD Vance have a conversation with her just for that. A dick sheriff, a penis inspector. Ah! There's penis inspector. I was wondering what he's been up to. Apparently he is a retired British military general.
Europeans, well, they've gutted their economies with green policies, open immigration, and free trade. And the Europeans themselves are likely to be caught up in Ukrainian corruption scandals. So the balance of power is indeed shifting to the United States, Russia, and China, and their cooperation around real physical economic activity. This will leave the banker-run economies of the world behind, and that terrifies the City of London more than anything. So, while the empire wants to keep the war in Europe going, they certainly don't want Trump to take on the real enemy in this hemisphere. Or as J.D. Vance said in a post, "We've been told for decades the U.S. military must go everywhere and do the impossible all over the world. But the red line for permanent Washington is using the military to destroy narco-terrorists in our own hemisphere." So let's look at the backstory of the firestorm over Venezuela and why Pete Hegseth is in the crosshairs. This is where it gets really interesting, because this is where Trump is striking at the financial jugular of the British Empire. The main financial weapons of the British Empire have been severalfold. The obvious side is the official side: central banks, their grip on money flows through institutions like the Bank of England, the Bank for International Settlements, the other central banks. But the underside of this is the trillions of dollars of dirty money that are tied to drug trafficking and other illegal activity. Now, this relationship between the British Empire, the global financial system, and international drug trafficking and terrorism is something that researchers at Promethean Action have exposed for decades. So if you want to understand how the enemy really operates, subscribe to Promethean Action's free newsletter, and you'll get the strategic intelligence you need to win this fight.
Are you guys subscribed? You better be. PrometheanAction.com.
But here's the short version. The City of London and its dependencies in the Caribbean, like the Cayman Islands, have kept major banks afloat in the world through the protection of the drug trade and its vast financial flows going all the way back to the 1970s. We've never had a successful war on drugs because, quite literally, Wall Street and the City of London didn't want one. Let's go back to 1999 when Richard Grasso, the head of the New York Stock Exchange, went to Colombia and met with the finance chief of the FARC narco-terrorist gang. Grasso praised the financial sophistication of the commander and said that he hoped the meeting would mark the beginning of a new relationship between the FARC and the United States.
I like how, just exasperated she sounds in this. You can see the little micro expressions and stuff. She's, rolling her eyes and, the head of the New York Stock Exchange goes and meets with this guy and talks about his financial sophistication.
Penis inspector. Best girl in server. For real. I don't get why people like money. It just gets you stuff. Why not just get stuff? Seems silly to have a whole system no one understands to get in the way of its own goals. Saturnine mind control is real.
You could just get things. You don't need money, just get the things. Just bring a club. Just get things. Yeah, RIP penis inspector. Thank you, London School of Egonon Spix.
What was that relationship? The dirty money that flows through the banking system, and the meeting would mark the beginning sophistication of the commander, and said that he hoped the meeting would mark the beginning of a new relationship between the FARC and the United States. What was that relationship? The dirty money that flows through the banking system and provides essential liquidity, especially during times of crisis. When you look at Venezuela, you're looking at a key linchpin in this financial and political nexus. How did it come to play that role? Thank the British. Maduro's predecessor
British.
and mentor, Hugo Chavez, modeled himself on guess who? Britain's Tony Blair. Right before his 1998 election to the Venezuelan presidency, Chavez said,
All of a sudden, AA just pops up from somewhere. Oi, mate!
Over the last few years, I've been revising my positions, and I'm very close to the thesis of British Prime Minister Tony Blair when he speaks of the third way. And throughout his rise to power, Chavez was groomed by British diplomats in Venezuela and lauded by the British press. Maduro is carrying on in that tradition. Venezuela isn't just another socialist dictatorship. It's a node in a network of drug trafficking, money laundering, and financial flows that sustains not just the Maduro regime, but a significant portion of the offshore banking system that the British Empire depends on.
Yep.
And that's what Trump has targeted. That's the real reason for the hysteria over Hegseth. That's why the British have cut off intelligence sharing over Venezuela, not because they care about Maduro or Venezuelan democracy, but because Trump is targeting the money. Think about the carrier strike group, the USS Gerald Ford in the Caribbean. Is it only there because of its firepower? Think about the enormous electronic surveillance capacity that carrier group has. Every time we strike a drug boat, you can bet the lines of encrypted communications light up between the traffickers and their higher-ups. Guess who's tracing that and putting together a detailed picture of the entire apparatus?
And also, every time you destroy some of their equipment, they have to go get more equipment, which means more money is moving. Which all of that can all be traced and tracked.
Now, Scott Bessent, Trump's Treasury Secretary, said something really revealing recently. Listen to how he answers this question.
What's been the most surprising thing you've learned as...
This is a really good interview, by the way. It's about 50 minutes long on the Alex Marlowe show on Breitbart. They just sit down and talk to Scott Bessent for 45, 50 minutes, something like that. It's very good. You could just look for it on YouTube, the Alex Marlowe show with Scott Bessent.
Treasury Secretary about the job that you weren't expecting.
The national security aspect. So I would say that I spend 40 or 50% of my time on national security.
Think about that. Why is the Treasury Secretary spending 40 to 50% of his time on national security? Because national security and financial security are inseparable. Because the financial weapons are the real weapons of empire. When Trump goes after Venezuela, he's not really going after a government. He's going after the financial structure that keeps the British imperial system functioning. But if you're going to take on that imperial financialized free trade system, what do you replace it with? We'll go back to Scott Bessent again when he was asked about our vulnerabilities because of free trade.
We can't stay dependent on China. Is the administration moving to move us away from rare earth dependence to rare earth independence?
What you are saying, John, is we are taking back our sovereignty, and that it's inexcusable. And again, this is back to like this unfettered free trade idea. The technology, especially in rare earth magnets, that's being used against us, it was U.S. technology.
Taking back our economic sovereignty. What does that look like? Well, look at yesterday's cabinet meeting. You'll see
The London School of Egg on Spicks.
A is gay, but he's also very good at coding what he means. If you think you know what he's saying, you probably don't. The bro helped create the most effective political activism school for the right from his basement. Part of his goal is to stay small.
Yeah, I actually don't. I don't have the same hostility toward AA that I know a lot of guys do, because I kind of understand there is a. I understand he's doing a bit, and frankly, when he highlighted me just recently, he called me the king of the MAGA chuds or whatever. I was like, yeah, cool. I like it. Sounds good. It was funny reading through the comments and hearing all the people just talking about just how bad it is that I have an audience and where did I come from and who's paying me, and yeah, I enjoy the kayfabe. There's layers to it.
team of people working with each other, committed to getting things done in the real world of the physical economy, not the world run by financial parasites. Howard Lutnick put it this way: we set out to stop the ripoff of the United States. This is about global change of trade. And he focused on reshoring manufacturing, and he talked about the capital flowing into productive capacity and building key sectors like nuclear energy and shipbuilding.
Yes, that's right. I am merely a marionette of those who go to the tips link at tips.kingpill.com. I'll just say whatever you want me to say. Just send a donation there. Not a donation. No. I'm not a charity case. I'm providing value. You guys send value in return.
The White House has a new portal where you can track the enormous investments now pouring into the United States. whitehouse.gov/investment. Keep your eye on that. And this is a whole of government approach. I met with a representative of small businessmen in the Detroit area yesterday, and they said one of their biggest problems is the lack of skilled labor. The Trump administration knows this. Here's what Labor Secretary Lori Chavez DeRimmer said yesterday.
So the Labor Department has wasted no time in putting that into action with our Make America Skilled Again, either grant dollars, but the intentionality of the apprenticeship program, 1 million active apprentices across this country. We have done over 250,000 new apprentices so far in the first year and registered over 2,000 new apprenticeship programs. Why do we need the apprenticeship programs with the men and women in the trades? Because of the leadership of onshoring and reshoring, and have a lot of these companies reinvest in America. We have to build this country. We cannot do that without the tradesmen and women and the craftsmen of this country. And I think that, Howard and I, we talked about that from the beginning, and we're going to have to lean in on that because we need the labor force, 700,000 new skilled jobs with electricians, construction workers, machinists, and so forth.
I want you to listen.
Even better than trade schools is apprenticeships, and that's something worth highlighting there. She's talking about apprenticeships. So this is on-the-job training. This is not like you're taking gay general credits classes and or going into debt to go to a school. No, you're getting paid to learn directly from the practitioner of the trade.
Listen to the entire cabinet meeting. Rather than just sitting there and doom scrolling, pay attention to what Trump is actually doing.
Yes.
You will see the American system of political economy being reborn before your eyes. Promethean Action has been in the forefront of advocating for that economic revolution, And we're building a movement of people who can join with President Trump in bringing it into being. If you want to be a part of that, become a paying member of or a contributor to our growing community. So let's take it back to where we started. This is where the diplomatic convergence in Moscow comes back in. This wasn't just diplomats making separate deals, but three superpowers with the productive capacity to end 300 years of British imperial control. The Venezuelan strikes can cut off their dirty money, and the cabinet's economic vision builds the alternative. The Anglo-American establishment knows their time is up, as long as you stay focused and support what Trump and his team are doing. So this has been your midweek update. Thanks for watching.
Please take a moment and subscribe to our free newsletter at PrometheanAction.com.
Go do it. PrometheanAction.com. Shout out to our MAGA grandmas. Susan Kokinda is a patriot. Emperor Trady says, did you see Mark Mitchell was asked about you? I did see that. Someone sent that to me. I forgot. Thank you for reminding me. I forgot to reply. I did see that. That's very interesting. I had to go back and think, have I said anything recently? If he goes and listens to a recent episode, have I said anything about him? Because I've definitely thought some things about him that it'd be kind of funny if he decided to tune in and listen and heard me taking a dump on him. But Mark, if you're listening, I appreciate the hard work, and you can you could do better. Take the Troost pill. You've got a great platform. You should use it. I said the nigga word many times. Yeah, he does seem like a well-meaning guy. I'm actually in a group chat with him, which is kind of funny. I just lurk. I haven't been an active poster in it, but I am in a group chat with him. Okay. Last thing this morning. This very, very late Tuesday episode of the ASTROLAB. I watched the TV show Suits back in the day and really, really enjoyed it. It was one of my favorite shows. That's the one I'm thinking of, right? Suits. All of a sudden, you ever have this moment where like your brain just stops? Yeah, Suits. Really enjoyed it. Had a total. I was a very big fan of Meghan Markle on the show. This was, I don't know, 15 years ago or something. I think it was when I was in college. And this woman is absolutely insane. Next level insane. Milo Yiannopoulos has been going off about her recently. It's very entertaining. And I saw that Tucker Carlson just had Milo on, and the thumbnail on the video is hilarious. The title of the video, the like subheading commentary on the email that he sent, if you're on Tucker's email list, it's just, God bless Tucker Carlson, man. But this woman, Meghan Markle, I knew that she was nuts. I knew that she was like a deranged shitlib. I did not realize that it was this bad. Watch this. disturbing level. King Shield Juiceberg, it's me!
The Anglo-American is broken, mostly because the Venezuelans backstabbed the WASPs. This is a civil war between the old alliance to rule the world, where the old country and new country Anglos would split the world like Spain and Portugal did.
I like how there was like the appropriate little pause in there for the Venezuelans. Yes, that's right. We need to, see, really what we need to do is we need to rescue. That's what America exists to rescue the Anglo tradition from, it's kind of like, there's kind of like a, the Zoomers are going to redeem the Boomers, the Boomer generation, just like America is going to redeem the Anglo tradition. Yeah, this is so. This level. Just wait till the next thing. I have this video, and then I'm going to show you this graphic that somebody put together. This is a psychopathic level of like. She's studied down to like really specific hand gestures and like every single outfit that she ever wore. This is like serial killer shit.
Daddy sold myself, I can't get anybody else to sort me out.
Such a fraud.
Now look at this. Milo posted this. I need you to look at this. I need you to zoom in. I need you to look at every picture. I need you to follow a guy that made it below, and then I need to do it all over again. Look at this. Like every single one of these. Down to tiny little details of these outfits. Some of them are like a little different, or maybe it's kind of a stretch a little bit. But if there was a couple of them, you'd be kind of like, okay, there's a it's just kind of a coincidence or something. And maybe you could see this as like it's like an homage. If she didn't have the relationship to the royal family that she does. Yeah, this is obviously on purpose. It's like, this is an obsessive level to actually go dig all of this out. Like, look at some of these. Taking pictures with these really similar poses, dressed very similarly. The floral skirts with the white blouses. Like, okay, so a dark pantsuit with a white shirt, that's not just an easy thing to land on. But like, look at this one. Red with the bare shoulders and the black strip at the top. All these different poses, posing, wearing similar clothes with the exact same pose, the same sweatshirt. This woman is a lunatic. Han says, did this happen to attract Harry, or did she get coached on it by handlers after the fact? I think this is all after she was with him. Even down to like dressing her child the same. So she wears a similar outfit with the child dressed similarly. Very, very extremely bizarre behavior. This is like, kind of hard to feel bad for Harry, but man, if it was something that was going to make me feel bad, he's got the claws in him. He is never, ever getting away. She will hunt him down and skin him and wear his skin on her own body if he ever tries to leave her. Complete Looney Tune. I've also got to say, it's a little weird that, that I'm sitting here consuming this content produced for me by Remoulade Sauce, but I got to say, this is something that only a gay dude would track and put together. It's kind of like weirdception here. Our poor Anglo prince. Wonder if he had any idea what he was getting himself into. All right, guys. Well, that is all that I got. That is a aspiring midwit says she literally auditioned for the position of devouring mother and got the job. So true. And then there was another one here. Isaac said the Great Replacement personified. Isn't that true? Yeah, very creepy. She shops at the Windsor thrift store. All right, thank you guys. Appreciate you. Thank you for the contributions to the streamer salary, for all the support. You guys have supported the show very generously. Go join the KingPill Discord. You won't regret it. Just do it. Just do it. Make sure you download the EWBSX app and tune in. Listen a little bit every day. The cyberbully has begun rolling out some of the Christmas content, Christmas songs. And it won't be, for the most part, it probably won't be the usual Christmas songs. So there's some other, maybe some unique, off the beaten path sort of Christmas songs that you'll get. But it's not exclusively Christmas either. So if you're one of those people that isn't ready to listen to nothing but Christmas, then you'll get some regular stuff. And if you're someone who does want to have the Christmas stuff, then there is some Christmas stuff in there for you. EWBSX, it's free to download on either app store. And go get yourself some merch, some EWBSX merch. EWBSX.store.
Kabbalist sex magic to appease Saturnine Outer and Anunnaki. Fashion is Kabbalist sex magic. I hate it. Time to flip the switch and use Hyperborean solar masculine principles to undo the gynocratic Magica soul gauge. Tall Nords will guide us if we are open.
What just happened? There was a whole bunch of words. I know a lot of those words, but I don't think I would have ever. I've never read all of those words all in one sequence like that before. That was great. Yeah, what he said. King Shield Juiceberg. I really am surprised that I haven't seen King Shield before, but now I'm going to embrace that. King Shield. Matt Jew Ericstein. King Shield. The real King Shield show. So true, King Shield Juiceberg. I didn't understand, but I agree. EWBSX.store. Go get yourself some merch and be on the lookout for some more merch drops coming soon. Many more great things to come. And I'll be back here tomorrow for another episode of the Astrolabe, a Thursday Labe. We're getting ever closer to the next big Pseudolabe. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a banger. That'll happen on Saturday. I'll have a Saturlabe, Pseudolabe with the Pseudowave on the Astrolabe. All right, I'll see you guys later. Have yourselves a good night. I leave you with Hulk.
When they took a shot at my hero, and they tried to kill the next president of the United States, enough was enough.